something. Huh? Oh, there it is. How does how does it work that they can hear me
Hello.
but not you?
They can hear me now. They can hear me. There's an input and there's an output source. Your output source is my headphones, and then the input source is my microphone.
Timmy, I don't want to hear James anyway.
Blocked. James dropped his computer. No, I didn't.
Okay, Timmy, I have to ask you a question. Do you really think 16 gigs of RAM is enough RAM?
Busch Gardens Williamsburg was good. It was very good. It just went for like an hour or two, so.
I agree. Like for a lot of people, 16 gigs is enough. But if you are running like 6 programs in order to do the podcast,
Right now, which I'm doing, and it's working all right.
my computer has 16 gigs and I run out of memory a lot. It like starts swapping. It's annoying. I mean, Linux handles it a lot better than Windows does. Windows is just like, yeah, we're going to dump all this to the hard drive and you're going to wait while I do that. How old is your memory? Age of memory doesn't really matter. Not like servers. Like I've installed servers that have 2 terabytes of RAM. It's insane. Do you realize like that's bigger than your hard drive?
I'm aware.
Is
Yeah.
a terabyte. Like this, the server had 2 terabytes of RAM. It was just like you opened it up and it was dim, 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 dim. There were just dims. Like the whole thing was just dims.
Oh. Good to be back, guys.
That's interesting. Wait, both exporting the oh. Well, yeah, I don't know how intensive those are. Those are CPU intensive tasks. I don't know. I can't really talk about Adobe. Adobe just sucks. I know that. They're an evil company.
A lot of people don't like him.
I don't does anybody actually really like Adobe?
I don't like. I don't.
I mean,
I
people
use.
use their products,
Yeah.
but
I
like
don't know anyone that likes
I
the
don't think
company.
anybody is like, "Oh, I love Adobe." It's like, "Oh shit, I got to use Adobe again."
Premiere Pro is a good video software. Computer talk, Pam said. Boring. You're not a computer enthusiast, Pam?
Oh, nobody will get this. Like I just picture Pam using web TV. You got nobody here. Does anybody know what web TV is? Does anybody recognize that? I
Not
wonder
like a.
if it's actually still a thing. Probably
Isn't it a
not.
website or something?
No. It was a genius idea that was just horrible. Oh, look at this. Vice has a whole article on it.
Of course they do. Don't you just love this podcast, guys?
You never know what you're gonna get.
One
It's
day
actually
it's
what's so much fun about it, I think.
yeah.
I want to find a web TV commercial. There's got to be one on YouTube somewhere.
All night long. All night. The power hour. Oh yeah, Pam. Bob's going to American Dream, so I guess that means we're going.
Yes. Just freaking love it.
Oh yeah, Timmy. If I miss any stories, you gotta put me in and the you gotta put it in the chat and let me know. Or you can just make a rundown right now. Just by one word. Just make a rundown of stories I should tell, and I should know by one word the stories if you want.
Yeah, I forgot they had Web TV Plus.
Sounds fun. Whoa.
Whoa, what?
The link you sent me just said, oops, your computer's not working. I mean, oops, the browser's not working. Now, I don't understand why YouTube does that. It should open up the link in a new tab. I would love that. Especially when I'm trying to monitor the chat.
Oh, it doesn't? If you click it, it doesn't? I mean,
No,
you can do
YouTube,
right
for some reason, doesn't do it like that. Like, it opens it up in the same tab.
You can right click it and say open.
Yeah, a new tab. That's what I'm going to do, but I didn't know it was going to do that. I thought it was going to automatically do what I did. Joy to the... I have a pretty bad voice crack, but I have a friend that has even worse, and we kind of go back and forth with each other on that. It's because my voice used to be like so high, and now it's like pretty deep. Whoa.
Huh. Hey, Cam.
Yes.
The asterisk didn't work.
I'll tell that story, I guess. Even though I wasn't there to experience it. Yeah, this link is not working for me. Is it just me, or is that everyone else? Is that everyone else working?
Did that link work for anybody?
It says, oops, that something went wrong for me. Might just be me. Let me try this.
Pam got threatened by a 12-year-old?
Yeah, she did. That's a funny story, too. A lot of crazy stuff happened in Florida, of course.
Well, I mean, it's Florida.
Exactly. I'd be shocked if it didn't. Yeah, I can't get the link to work. I don't know if it's me or what.
All right. Well, James, I'll explain to you what Web TV was. In 1996, it was a device that was launched that you plugged into your TV and your phone line, and it let you get on the internet from your TV. And it was the whole point of it was like, oh, now grandparents can send emails.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't go so well. But that's what I was thinking. Like I was like, Pam would be that person on web TV trying to send emails.
still exists, but it's no longer available for purchase. Its only role now is to support the subscription service for existing customers.
They have existing customers?
It's called MSN TV now.
Of course it is. Speaking of supporting devices that they don't sell anymore, Logitech just decided to quit making the Harmony remotes.
Oh yeah, you told me. That was a couple weeks ago that you said that, right? I think you
No.
told me.
No, this literally happened like Friday.
Yeah. Well, maybe I saw it on a tweet then, and I thought it seemed like a while back. Did you tweet it out?
Yeah.
That might be it.
Like,
then. I thought you said it in the Discord a while back, maybe.
it's like one of Logitech's most popular products. It's like the best universal remote, and they're just like, yep, you know what? We're not going to make it anymore.
Yeah, here it is, 5 days ago. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what? Why would they? They're not round. Well, they have the Harmony One.
The first comment is fine. The two I had were awful.
I mean, some people didn't like them, but you basically you plugged them into your computer and you program them. Like, you tell it what devices you have, and then you can program tasks. And like, my dad has one. He's like, how would you not recognize the name Logitech?
It's a very popular tech brand.
They also make mice and keyboards
Webcams.
and speakers and webcams.
Pretty much any computer accessory you're looking for.
Yeah.
They'll sell it.
But anyway, the nice thing about it was like you just like say, okay, I want to watch this. And like my dad has like so many different devices, and it would just like send all the commands to set everything exactly the way it needs to be to watch the DVD player or something like that.
I have a Logitech mouse right here. And then I have this actual webcam is a Logitech webcam that I'm recording on right now. So
I actually have a Microsoft webcam.
Ooh,
The irony. Actually, you know what's funny? Even back in the days where I despised Microsoft because they were evil, which they were, I still I hated Windows, but I always said Microsoft made really good hardware. And then I remember like all my friends that also hated Microsoft, like when they announced Xbox, everybody's like, "Oh my god, like Microsoft's going to destroy gaming now." I'm like, "No, they're not, because it's hardware. It's going to kick ass." And it did.
Yeah.
Microsoft always made great keyboards. Microsoft made some really, really good keyboards. My headset's a Razer.
Mine's Audio Tech. I have a GoPro Hero like 4, I think. So I have not dealt with GoPro since like 2016 or whenever that came out. 2015.
You know what I just thought about this. You know what my first digital camera was? It was also my webcam.
Oh.
It was made by Intel.
I don't know if I did see your review on, or your discussion, whatever, with GoPro.
Oh my god, I forgot about these things.
What?
These like globe looking I can't, darn it, I can't, you can't post pictures in YouTube, can you? There it is. The Intel CS630. There's drivers for Windows 10 for it? No, there's no way.
Called the what? The Intel 630?
Yeah, that link probably should take you right to the picture. Or wait, maybe it's SX425. I don't know what it is now. I don't know. That picture is what it was, though.
Oh man. It's one ugly son of a gun.
Yeah, but do you see what it is? It's a combination
Yeah.
webcam and
Yeah, I see what
digital
it
camera.
is.
Like that was like,
It looks like a
I
Teletubby
mean,
toy though or something.
I know, but like that's like what webcams were. I
Yeah.
mean, there was or not webcams, but like digital, like there weren't really digital webcams then. That was such a new like.
Talk about cooking by the book. Yeah. That's exactly like I imagined at one of those shows. I'm proud to say that song was not played once on the trip, so not even one time.
Aw.
Yeah, I know.
I actually also had. I might even still have it. I had a printer that actually took Polaroid film from not the Instax, the stuff they have now, but like the old school Polaroid cameras.
Mm-hmm.
You actually took the film, you loaded it in this device, plugged it into a USB port, and sent a JPEG file over to it, and it printed the picture on an actual Polaroid picture.
It's cool. Very
It
cool.
was it was unique.
Yeah.
It was very unique.
Was it good quality and everything or no?
Yeah, I mean, like it was the same quality as if you took the picture with a Polaroid camera.
Mm. I didn't know how that transfer went. In the Navy, yes. We did listen to that song.
Maybe.
Pam's not gonna be happy about that one, but I think she's tuned us out until we start talking about roller coasters anyway. So, Pam, come back. Pam, please come back. Mm.
You can
Ready
blame
for
it
the
all
fool.
on James.
Yeah, I was wrong, and I just can't live without you, Pam. There's got to be more news.
She-
Were you actually listening to that song, Timmy?
A jumpy thing from Australia. I was very disappointed. I actually made a tweet that I thought was so funny and nobody paid any attention to it.
What was it?
So did anybody see the picture of the snake that was spotted in Pittsburgh? It was like freaking massive.
Yeah, you sent it to us in the Discord.
I tweeted, I said, "Man, that's big enough to kill a kangaroo." And nobody said anything.
Aw. I'll say something now. You got one like, Bob.
I did.
Yeah, Travis liked it.
I don't know. For some reason, my Twitter app quit being able to see likes. Like it'll show that I have a like, but it won't show who it is. So if I actually want to see who liked something, I have to go to the web.
That's weird.
I'm sure Twitter changed something because Twitter doesn't like people like me that use apps like I use. But they know that if they disable them, they're going to have some blowback. So they kind of like walk this fine line. All right. We should probably do the show. Although
Disagree.
actually, I know what else I can show that I'm
All right.
like
Does
pretty
anyone have any
proud
more
of.
news stories to talk about? Does anyone know any news that happened this week? Because we have 4, but I feel like we talking about King's Dominion raising their pay, Columbus Zoo getting a new Wild Mouse, Coaster Power Hours, and Cognac Lake. There has to be something else.
I totally didn't even know about the wild mouse at Columbus Zoo.
Nobody
Hey,
really likes
Columbus
people
just
like
got a
you. Pam just roasted you. Is that directed at Bob?
probably.
Except Pam. Pam seems to like you. You're in a whole friend group with her, Pam. Spitting some fire tonight.
Yeah, Pam's like
She's like, talk some coasters, damn it.
like when someone talk about coasters, we're
Stop
crying out
talking
loud.
about RAM and Polaroids and talk about
Wait,
coasters.
now I want to talk about my new air conditioner that's still sitting in the box
Oh crap! I forgot to delete all of this.
because it's awesome. It like
Really, we want to
the
hear about your new
window
AC.
shuts through the AC.
All right.
So
Well,
the
if we're gonna
window
talk
only
about
has
that,
to open this much.
I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. And it actually has inverter technology, so like it's not on and off. It like changes speeds and saves power, and it's freaking awesome. I mean, I'll tell you more when I actually install it, but yep, I'm just talking about my AC. I'm like I'm actually who didn't like anybody. Wait, what? Oh, sorry. I'm excited about my AC. Like I bought it 2 days before it sold out. Like it's like I have no life. Do you realize this is how I excite myself? I buy like air conditioners. What do I think about Tesla Autopilot? I don't know. I don't like cars that are connected to the internet at all. I think it's a bad idea. That's the other. Yep. Pam knows what's coming now. Well,
What was
an
said?
EMP is different, but everybody automatically assumes I work in data centers, like I work with all this technology, so obviously like I love technology, right? No. Working in technology shows me how freaking scary technology is.
Did you know
I mean,
Timmy's Apple
let's connect
Watch?
everything to the internet. What could possibly go wrong?
Bob, Timmy's Apple
Everything.
Watch is able to tell when he's washing his hands. That's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of that was kind of crazy to me. It was like,
That,
hey, you're washing your hands right now. I'm like, what?
people don't realize how much these companies know about us. They're like, well, how would they know that? It's like, oh, it's amazing. It's ridiculous. Just wait till they start putting coasters on the internet.
Anyway, back to coasters.
Some of them probably are. Do you realize that there's like only I think it's like maybe only 2 models of cars that are sold right now that don't have a full-time connection on a cellular network.
Mm.
You basically cannot buy a car that doesn't have a cellular connection. But the reason why they like seriously one day, and BMW is already doing this, where like, oh, I want to have a rear defroster. It's installed in my car, but I can't use it because I didn't subscribe to it.
Yeah.
It's in my car. It's there. There's the little lines on the window. Nope, you're not allowed to push that button unless you subscribe to it. Heated seats. Dude, why aren't your heated seats when working? Well, I didn't renew the subscription. Like, how friggin' retarded is it?
Uh-oh. Don't use that word around Pam. You make her even more mad.
Oh, yeah. But that's the thing. Like, if like all of a sudden, whatever cars, like Honda, all of a sudden starts struggling financially, all of these cars they've sold are already connected. They can just like start turning them off and say, no, you got to subscribe to this now. Like you've been using it for 5 years, but tough luck. Now it's a subscription service. Like light bulbs, eventually. It was Travis. It's Travis's fault. I don't know that name. But believe me, I know how scary technology can be. I mean, I'm not against the autopilot thing in itself. I think we'll be a lot safer if every car is being driven by a computer and we don't have humans like just making mistakes and being inattentive and crap like that.
I like
But
how half the chat is like commentating on Pam's mental status, and then half of it's like trying to fuel your technology talk.
I know. Oh, but it can get to cars can drive themselves. Like I have nothing I have no qualms about cars driving themselves as long as they go through the proper testing, but it concerns me that they have a full-time connection to the internet and or to Tesla's network or whatever car company's network. I mean, computers are really good at doing repetitive tasks. And they don't make mistakes like us. Timmy, you know what my thoughts are. You just said Facebook. End of story. Oh, Facebook with a camera? That's a great idea. Pam's gonna commit a felony.
No, I swear to God, I was on the Reddit. I was on the subreddit r/Rollcoaster subreddit looking at the King's Dominion thread. One of the King's Dominion threads, and one of the comments was, "Do they employ people who have felonies?" Well, and I was like, "Wait, what? like is that for a friend or?" That just made me think of that. Maybe it was Pam. Maybe they were asking for Pam.
Poor Pam.
Pam's just gone.
Did she actually leave?
Maybe. Let's see.
Not a felon yet.
Nope, she's still
No,
here.
she's still.
No, I swear I was looking and there was like someone who's a felon. Can they have can they work at King's Dominion? And I'm like, oh, that's kind of random, weird.
All right, we should probably start the show.
All right, hopefully the Florida segment will fill us with enough time.
We'll be fine. We can talk.
Can we?
I mean, there's nothing. Is there? I'm sure there was other stuff, but it's fine. I'm sure everybody already knows about it.
Yeah, because we suck.
Oh, we have to come up with a weekly poll.
Oh,
I hate the weekly poll.
Bob, I love it.
Pam, Pam?
Is Pam a felon?
What?
Yes or no? That can be the poll.
Yeah, that'll work. I mean, that's our should be our tagline.
Pam a felon?
Coaster Talk Live. F it, we're doing it live.
Oh, I thought you meant is Pam a felon should be our tagline.
Yes.
Welcome to Coaster Talk Podcast. Is Pam a felon?
All right, weekly poll. Somebody come up with a weekly poll. All right, Travis, you're going to get me shot. Oh, good, James. I'm glad there's a page 2.
Are you?
It's just, it's just kind of funny. Such a short rundown. But nope, there's a page 2. I don't care, James. It doesn't matter.
There you go. Yeah, that's there from when we did the weekly poll. I mean, the last rundown with all the stuff that was from the April Fool's jokes, all the descriptions of that, just left over.
Yeah, that's right.
Should felons work at amusement parks? That's a pretty good one. Should King's Dominion hire this felon?
Yeah.
What do you think of LSMs, Bob?
I'm not biting. Pam will do something bad.
It's coaster related. She will be fine with that.
Oh, that's true. I think, honestly, I kind of like limbs better. And I don't fully understand why LSMs don't rise.
I was going to say, that's it? I thought that was your sentence. I was like, dang, that was
I mean, like, in theory, an LSM should be able to have the same kick as a LIM, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, actually. I don't know what it is about LSMs that they just aren't powerful.
I think it's just because they're just targeted. They like have to hit a they hit a speed and then stop. So it's like just like, okay, like this is the exit speed period. Like Volcano didn't care. It was just like, go MF.
And acceleration was just like out the wazoo.
And it just didn't stop until the train wasn't there anymore. Like
Yeah.
that's how limbs always were.
Goodbye. We'll miss you.
Yeah, Mock's a good example of it. Like it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it just that they're not like could you program an LSM to have the same kick as a LIM?
Probably.
Is it just that they want to be efficient? I don't know though. I like because every section has to be synchronized. So if you have them all, I don't know. It's
I think it's possible.
confusing.
I don't think it's the intent really though. I don't think they just. I think it could be done. I'm curious to see how the launch on Red Force is.
I know. I've really been curious about that too.
That's a really powerful launch.
It is, but Red Force still doesn't reach the other accelerators with a hydraulic launch.
The speed, you mean?
The acceleration.
Oh, okay. I was about to say it does beat accelerator in terms of speed.
Yeah, but I don't think like as in terms of acceleration.
Yeah, I know. When you added that little point, I didn't know that's what you were referring to. I don't know what Red Force's acceleration is.
I don't know. It's like they don't really advertise it. I mean,
0
you
to
have to
112 in 5 seconds.
I
Pretty
mean,
good.
yes, that's good, but in terms of hydraulic launches, that's slow.
Yeah, top the dragster 0 to 120 in 4.
But see, like that's the other like it's not like what you're saying, Travis. Like it's not it has nothing to do with the top speed, like the speed that it gets to. It has to do with that pushing you back in your seat. Because I mean,
I think LSMs seem more gradual too. It's more like LIMs are just like right out the door, like you said.
Yeah,
and
LIMs
LSMs are a lot more like graceful. Here we go. We're going. Works. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It doesn't have that same kick. I mean, I've never been on
Should Coaster
an
Talk
SNS
podcast
pneumatic
be
launch.
about coasters?
Timmy's answer is no.
I didn't see that. We could actually do like LSM versus LIMs now that I think about it. I don't know if we've ever done that.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Do you think LIMs have more kick than LSMs? That's a good poll. There we go. Let's do it. I need a drink. Pam had me talking about all this
better,
computer.
right? We could just say which are better, LSMs or LIMs.
Yeah, we could do it that way. But since Pam had me talking about all this stuff, I need to go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Right. I feel like compressed air launches are kind of in the middle. They're definitely not hydraulic launches, but I think they're better than the LIM and LSMs. They do some fast acceleration.
I'm sure Pam's already had a drink.
She's got an Irish trash can down.
Yeah, Pam's drinking an Irish trash can in my honor.
Cheers to Bob. Yeah, the acceleration on Did It On Pause is very good. That's obviously it's the world. I think it's the world's fastest. So.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I want to experience compressed air launch.
I do
It doesn't make
too.
sense to me how they're so like. I feel like what happens probably with them because the drop tower, the air compressed drop towers. I know I don't really get a really great sensation out of them. I mean, I know it's vertical versus being in a horizontal, but I don't know.
Well, they're just not designed. They're designed differently.
Yeah, but I feel like the sensation would be somewhat similar using the same technology, somewhat.
But you're also you're on a different axis as well.
Sure.
You're going like on a coaster, you're going forward versus up. Your
Yeah,
body feels that differently because
I
you're
know. That's
designed
what I
to
was
sit.
saying.
So
Hmm.
you're taking that.
Yes, I agree. But I feel like there'd be some parallels, some similarities. I don't feel like it's going to be like completely drastically different. But I'm curious. I mean, I really want to try
Well, so
compressed air.
here's the other thing though. Um, the towers bounce like they do multiple cycles.
Well, but typically,
And
like power towers. To your point, is like the first initial piece is just getting launched up, and then they do the bouncing.
yeah, but that the thing about pneumatic is it gets hot really fast.
Yes.
And power towers actually do overheat. There's a lot of times like if you're not or any of the SNS stuff, they actually overheat a lot. So like there's times where like you might just be sitting there like why aren't we going? They're literally waiting for the pneumatic system to cool down because it's just too hot. So I think that might be some like if they put the same intensity into that, it might increase that too much. I mean, they could make it happen, but it's probably not as cost effective for the benefits. You know, that's my theory anyway. Yeah, all pneumatic systems overheat. Actually, like in Fire Academy, when we would refill our SCBA tanks, those tanks would get so incredibly hot. And it was actually funny because we could actually like crank it up and like fill those really quick. But if you did, you wouldn't get as much air because the compression when it would be so hot that the compression wouldn't um like the air would start expanding more so it wouldn't be able to fit as much unless you let like then you would let it cool down and like the tank wouldn't be as full. It would all of a sudden like you'd go from being full and then the tank would actually cool down and like you're only at 3/4 full. But you'd be surprised at how hot they would actually get. What does Universal have?
They have an SNS powered, like a shot tower. One of those that shoots up and bounces, like we're saying. He's being sarcastic. It was really bad.
Oh, okay.
Literally, we waited like 15 minutes for it, and oh
All
man,
right. I'm gonna just start hiding comments that get moderated. I'm tired of clicking this button.
you're gonna have to. All right.
I got it. Why did I clicked? It wouldn't click. I was clicking. Then it went away, and then like 5 seconds later, it's like, oh, another moderator handled this. Why? I actually do think SNS drop tires are they're terrible drop tires. I mean, launch tires aren't
Yeah,
bad, but drop tires are just not
this
fun.
was a launch tower. I didn't think that launch tower was very good. I don't typically dislike the launch towers like that, but that one was not good. Like I like Power Tower, all right. I like um, the Hershey's Kiss towers, all right. The kissing towers. This one was like, but the thing is, with those towers, I feel like there's with I don't know. Is it how many cycles do they have on the kissing towers? I feel like it's more than just one. Because what
The
happened?
kissing tower is the observation tower. You mean the
No, not
triple tower?
Chipper towers. Yeah.
Um, they're all three of them are programmed different.
Yeah, I know. There's the kisses and the Reese's and the Hershey's. So does I mean, and the
All right,
Twizzler.
Travis is leaving. We can start the show. Frog hoppers are awesome.
Oh yeah, fun spot. I mean, fun spot. Funland of Fredericksburg's is where it's at.
Knoebels. Knoebels has an awesome frog hopper.
Oh, I thought you would say Larson.
They have that too. Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't get to ride it because I talked it up, and I'm like, it's right over here, and we go
Yeah.
over.
And then they were like doing maintenance on it. Yeah.
All right. I think we got a show together, right?
I think so. I hope so.
Let's do this.
I believe so. Whoa, Audacity needs to come up.
What? All this time and you haven't had Audacity yet?
All this time.
There goes another 2 gigs of RAM.
Computer crashes. Oh, no, did I jinx it? I know you're still there. You went silent. And I'm like, oh my god.
Nope, I'm not here. You can't hear me.
Bob?
Hmm?
I'm just kidding.
What happened? I'm here. Testing.
All right. Hi, I'm James, and I'm testing the audio for Kosher Talk Podcast, episode 116 of the show. It's really quiet.
How come it says 115?
Because it's wrong. Are you happy? I'm wrong. It's all my fault. Hello, everyone. I'm James, and I'm wrong always, never right.
Never.
Never, ever. It's a never-ending story of being wrong. Hello, everyone. I'm James,
Travis
and I'm wrong always.
Talking.
What?
Travis left, and now nobody's talking.
Travis is
What's
our
the deal with that?
is our hype man. Never.
I guess.
It's a never-ending story of being wrong.
And Cam's the one that just sticks out to the end.
Yeah, Cam will be here till like 3 a.m.
I won't be here till 3 a.m.
Yeah, neither of us will. That's the point. He'll just be on the screen where it's like the live stream has ended. It'll be 3 a.m.
Oh, I have to really debate now. I can order this smaller air conditioner.
Do it in your
It's
cool.
actually in stock.
Do it in your cool.
Wait, how? Oh, free shipping? Oh my god, I'm gonna have to do this, aren't I? Oh man.
I hope Cognac is prepared for like a lackluster year.
Yeah, I think they are.
I hope they are.
Wait, what? Oh. Damn it.
Hedgehog Technologies.
I'm gonna have to stand by while I order an air conditioner before it sells out again. Oh yeah, Xfinity. It's exactly what I want to do is transfer more to you.
They want your air conditioning?
No, sorry. I went over to my email to check something and there's like email like
I figured they
move
did.
cell phone over to unlimited 5G from Xfinity Mobile. No, thank you.
At least you're polite about it.
That's not what I would tell them. Oh, I can't believe I'm buying another air conditioner already. I told myself I wouldn't do this until I actually made sure that I liked it, but did Pam leave?
Probably.
Oh, all right. Well, that's ordered.
I think it's just Cam and Timmy right now.
That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody left us.
Paulo's definitely has a better job. Mako's job was like, all right.
You know, it's so weird. They were supposed to like send me a notification when it was back in stock, and they didn't. I just happened to click the page, and there it was. Watch me like have ordered the wrong one, something. Right now, somebody at Lowe's is going like, "Yeah, how'd somebody buy that? We don't have any." Sorry about that. So the whole problem is these air conditioners were like, they're like rated the most efficient for 2020 and 2021, and like they just keep selling out everywhere. And I bought the big one for like in my living room. That's the one I managed to get 2 days before it sold out. And then but then I was like, oh, I want one in my bedroom too because I want a quieter one in my bedroom plus saving electric and stuff like that. But like I could not find the small unit anywhere. It's been sold out everywhere. And I even had Lowe's like I did the notify me like, hey, send me an email when it's back in stock. And apparently they failed. And I literally accidentally clicked the wrong tab when I went over to the show notes, and it like popped up saying add to cart. So I added to my cart. Like I was expecting it to just say, oh, sorry, that didn't work, or, you know, something like that. But no, it let me completely check out. And it was weird though. Like I couldn't do ship to store, which is weird. Like I wouldn't know why, but it was free delivery to my house. So sure.
Intriguing.
They'll email me tomorrow and be like, hey, sorry.
We haven't had one of those in a month.
Yeah, it's like, but seriously, why didn't they email me? Like, why didn't they say, hey, this is back in stock?
Yeah, I don't know.
Watch it sell out like tonight. I will laugh. That'd be so awesome. I mean, right now it's still there. If anybody wants to buy one, you can still buy them at Lowe's. Can't ship to the store, but dude, all three different All 3 of them are back in stock, it says.
Just get them all then. The
Well,
hell with
no.
it.
Can't afford that. I don't have enough power to support that.
Do you have enough room in your apartment to support all of that? Like, to
Well, I
put
mean,
'em
they
all?
go in Windows, so.
Yeah, do you have enough windows?
Well, no. Drop the link. Which one do you want? The big one, the small one, or the medium one? That's the small one.
Is that really upsetting you, Cam? He said medium.
All right, medium one.
Kushter Talk podcast at its finest. I feel like people are probably watching this like
And
in the
you know what?
future, like looking at this video, like, oh, I'm just gonna go watch one of the live looks, see what they're talking about, and it's talking about AC units and old webcams, and they're like, what is this?
What is going on with these people? Timmy's gonna.
And yes,
try
anybody
to order.
looking back at this in the future, if you want, go to the live chat. That should still be viewable, and you can also buy yourself an AC. So there you go.
By then, Lowe's will be like, "No, we quit selling those. Like, we're done with that." They'll be like, "No, this one guy bought 2 for his small apartment, and it blew up, so we don't sell." And here's the promo video for the. We should email them and say, "Hey, look, you need to send some advertising dollars our way."
We should just start doing this. Just start during the live look-in, like for an hour before. Just start promoting random. Sending random promo information for different devices and stuff.
Oh yeah,
We can make advertising money.
I'm seriously worried. Like, I never thought I could get this excited over an air conditioner. Ironically,
to see yourself become the bad guy, right?
Like everybody, like people that talk about it are like, "Oh, it's so cool! You can hook it up to Alexa," and like, yeah, that's not happening. I could care less about that.
I just want an air conditioning.
I just want the cool air conditioner that I can still close my window. You know what it was? It was probably that ship that was stuck.
And the Suez Canal.
All these air conditioners were sitting on the ship.
Sitting on the dock of the bay. All right.
All right. Did you do your audio test?
I did do my audio test. Nope, nothing's happened with the free spin. We talked about that 2 weeks ago, I think. It's either going to be it's going to be put in the dumpster, or it's going to Michigan's Adventure, was our conclusion.
I think it's going to Michigan's Adventure. Laugh so hard.
Would you?
I mean, I like, seriously, I would love that just for the lulz. Just for the lulz. I almost want it to happen just for the lulz. All right. You ready?
Yeah. 8, 7, 6, 5.
Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong. I was like, wait, why can't I see myself? I'm in the wrong Discord chat. All right. Wait, now I need to. Okay. 3, 2.
And we're back.
Wait, no. For some reason, I clicked play instead of
No, Bob.
record.
It was
Like,
finally Bob's turn to mess it up.
I'm not- yeah, I don't think that's the first time I've done that, actually, on the intro.
You're so noble.
3, 2.
Nope. I'm just kidding. There was I was kind of joking, but then all right. I don't know why I did that.
Ready? 3, 2.
And we're back. It's been quite some time, but it's time for another episode of Coaster Talk Podcast, episode number 116. We skipped a week. We're back, and it's better than ever. Time to do some Coaster Talk Podcast.
Although I feel like I'm 3 years older.
It does feel like it's been a while
It's
since
not
we've done
even
the
just
show.
the time. It's how much I've been working. I am so beat and sore and I just want to sleep for like a week. That's all I want to do is just sleep for a week.
Yeah. Well, you would not have had fun on the Florida trip then, because we were getting up at the crack of dawn and going to bed at like 1 and 2 in the morning. So we're getting very minimal sleep.
At least that's riding roller coasters. So,
yeah, I mean it was, but I swear to you, I was sleeping more now going back to school than I was on the week of spring break. Like the teachers came back and they're like, "How was your spring break? Did you relax? Did you refuel?" And I'm like, "No, I was literally pulling all nighters, going to parks and stuff." So,
dude, yeah. I mean, I did. I'm trying to think how old I was when I did that. I think I was like 20 when I did my like really insane coaster trip. That was like 8 parks in 5 days or something like that. It was insane.
I cannot.
It was so much fun, but it was
one a little bit more crazy. This one wasn't quite like that. It was a lot of parks, but it wasn't. We weren't doing anything like that substantial, like 8 in 5 days. It was like 4 or 5 over the course of like 6 or 7 days. So yeah, I wasn't trying to fit in that many in that short amount of time. But I do plan on doing a trip like that very soon as well. Across the country maybe. I do plan on maybe doing Europe one year, but nonetheless, that was a week off there, and we'll get to the Florida trip here in the second half of the show.
Just wait till you're 40 and your excitement is, oh, I get to install my air conditioner this weekend.
Yeah. For those of you unaware,
concerned about myself, I'm so excited about this air conditioner.
Before we record, we typically spend about an hour talking nonsense, and this week, part of that nonsense was Bob's new AC unit.
which right just as the show is about to begin, I ordered a second one. I haven't even installed the first one in my living room, but I've already ordered the second one for my bedroom because it somehow just appeared in stock, and it has not been in stock for the last month. If anybody wants to see a really cool air conditioning unit, cool pun intended, look up the Medea U. It's amazing. The window. Or
you can also follow at Coaster Talk Bob, because Bob, I'm sure, will be posting on his Coaster Talk Bob account about his AC here soon when it gets delivered.
I'll have to say, like, oh, this is amazing.
All right, well.
Oh, and Cam just said in the chat his AC broke when he was in Florida.
Ooh.
I mean, I know where you can buy it. Like Lowe's now has.
I think Bob might have a plug for you.
Go check it out at Lowe's. I can't believe I'm so excited about an air conditioner. It's pretty spectacular that like is this an age thing? When you get old, is just like the bar for excitement just so low?
I think so.
That
I don't know. I don't know. Because I cannot tell you, I have not ever felt anything of the sort towards anything like an AC unit.
We'll see how it goes this weekend when I actually install this first one, the one that
we'll see how it goes when I get to college, though, and I need an AC unit. Maybe then I'll stoop down to this level and be like, Bob, send me the link, please.
This is the other thing, though. The other big thing about this is it's an extremely efficient AC.
Yeah,
and since I pay for my own power, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's like 35% more efficient.
That's excellent.
It has new inverter technology that, like, I think it's only Medea and LG. They're the only two that make air conditioners with this technology, and LG's just not as cool because the window shuts through the Medea. It goes through the Medea. It's amazing.
You love it. I know. Well, per request of some audience members, we're not going to list any in particular. We should probably stray towards the coaster side of the Coaster Talk podcast. I know we have that little like gray area of non-coaster related things that we talk about, but I think one of our close friends wants us to talk coasters.
Yeah, and it's probably a good thing you didn't throw Pam under the bus.
She who must not be named.
Yeah, we won't name her.
We won't say Pam's name. King's Dominion. We'll listen off an amusement park.
They have
King's
not built
Dominion.
their 4D free spin.
Yeah, this isn't anything like that. They have raised their starting pay rate to $13 an hour, though, which I know a lot of teenagers and college students going to be working there are going to be happy to hear that. And they've also raised full-time pay to starting at $16 per hour, which is great. I will be an associate there this year, so I mean I was glad to hear it. And yeah, I mean it's something that I think we're going to start seeing more and more often. I think some Six Flags parks also raised pay. I think Six Flags Over Georgia at least is one I saw. I think Great Adventure might have as well.
Yeah, Great Adventure did a while ago, actually.
Yeah,
I think they were one
kind
of
of went back in the news cycle and saw it. But I do remember a statement from, I think we talked about this a while back, from the SeaWorld executive, one of the executives of SeaWorld, and he was talking about if the minimum wage had to be raised. I don't know, but I don't know if it's being raised because of minimum wage requirements or if they're just doing it on their own merit.
They just realize that it's something that needs to happen.
Yeah, and then I do remember that SeaWorld statement though that was they're going to start automating jobs and everything, and I thought that was kind of an interesting take. But
SeaWorld is such a bipolar company.
They're hot, then they're cold. They're yes, then they're no.
You get up to the corporate level, and oh my god, they're just a disaster.
Yeah, that was my first kind of pulled to when I saw this article. I was like, oh, I remember that, and I was curious if we'll see Busch Gardens. I don't think Busch Gardens is in alignment with this $13 an hour pay. So I'm curious to see if they at all increase their margins. I don't know what they start at now at Busch, but I would assume it's probably where Kings Dominion was at like 9 or 10.
Well, I mean, the fact that SeaWorld was saying about, like if they raise minimum wage, then it would kind of tend to make you think they have a lot of minimum wage employees.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if you don't have minimum wage employees, then the minimum wage doesn't really affect you. So
yeah, it's possible. I was thinking that, I think that might have been a Florida, and in respects to a Florida law. I mean, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe in Virginia. I don't know how it's working in Virginia. But I am curious to see if we see any changes from the Busch Gardens Williamsburg side of things, because that's a big deal. I mean, think about it. I mean, I would think that some people might start considering, Kings Dominion is a little further away, but I get that extra $3-4 an hour.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'll tell you this: I mean, Kings Dominion has kind of been abysmal recently, but the last couple of years, I think their employee performance has been pretty bad compared to what it used to be, and I hope that this will actually maybe help curb that problem. I mean, I think that's a big part of it is like the more you get paid, maybe it's not like, oh, I care about my company more, but like your job performance actually will increase because you don't feel
and they can expect more out of you, right? Maybe that.
Right. Well, I mean,
like it can be used as an incentive almost. Like we're paying you this, we want you to treat the customers well and to do your job well. We expect more of you now with this pay. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment.
Well, maybe I don't know. It's just like if you're getting paid minimum wage, you're gonna act like a minimum wage job. Like
Sure, and
whatever.
that's what I'm saying. They
Like
can
I'm
say,
not
"Hey,
gonna.
we're not paying you that anymore. You need to act better. You need to act in this way, and we expect this of you."
Well, I think the thing is they could do that anyway, but you're more prone to tell them to take just like I'm out of here if if you're getting paid nothing versus yeah. I mean, think about it. Like you if you're getting paid like such a low wage, you could be like, well, fine, I'll go work at
I'll
McDonald's
go
or I'll
work,
go
yeah, and
like
get the exact same pay, and
you
don't have to
know,
deal with this.
and you don't have I mean can because seasonal like that's it's grueling work because you work a lot of hours. I mean,
hmm And the big
it,
thing that a lot of people point out is it's not just a lot of work and a lot of time commitment. It's actually like it's physical, a lot of physical labor. Like when I applied, it's a lot of like, are you okay with carrying this amount of weight and doing that? Like we're gonna have these kind of things. It's not gonna be a regular, but you're gonna have to do some pretty physical labor throughout the year. You know, like maybe having to carry a test dummy as a ride operator or something like that. You don't know
yeah,
what you're gonna be doing. So there's a lot of those things that a McDonald's employee or something might not have to partake in necessarily. You're not going to be carrying anything that heavy, or you're not working outside all the time in heat and humidity. So yeah, that was a common like point people were making about why they think this is a respectable amount of money to be making at this park, or at any park really. So I am curious to see, therefore, if Busch Gardens Williamsburg's like, all right, well, our competitor's doing it. I mean, when we've talked about, they have a very competitive relationship, Kingsman and Busch Gardens Williamsburg. So you'd think you'd see something out of them, but it's been almost a week now that they've announced this, and nothing's come out of Busch. So we'll see, though.
well, corporate's probably I think corporate ties their hands too much.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people at the park level will be like, no, we should do this. Like, this is the right thing to do. Two, this is the best thing for our employees and our guests because happier employees means happier guests. It really is scientifically been proven. I'm pretty sure you could say scientifically. But I
By the
mean,
Bob K. Mertz Foundation.
if if an employee is miserable, a guest interacting with that employee is probably going to become pretty miserable as well.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
that's kind of a no-brainer. And this thing about automating tasks, like, come on, if y- that's something that they're gonna do anyway. It like don't try to pretend like, oh, we're gonna do it now because of this. Like, no, if it's feasible, you're gonna do it anyway. Like, it's not. I mean, we've already seen them start automating certain tasks. So like it's not like this is like a foreign thing. I
hmm
don't know. It's
It might push them a little bit more to
those
get it
bug
quicker.
me.
I don't know. I don't know. But yes, it's interesting to see. I don't know. I know over Georgia just did it. They announced it like a week ago, a couple days ago, maybe as well. I don't recall what their wage started at. But they definitely did it as well. I remember seeing an article about that. So it seems to be a trend. We'll see if any other parks follow that trend, especially
I'm really
one.
curious to see what Palace does.
Yeah,
Because Kennywood's actually, I mean, Kennywood knows they are 100% aware
yeah,
of the issue with employees. And they've been saying their biggest problem is they can't pay them enough. And I think it was a couple years ago, Palace gave them permission to raise it $1. And like, I don't think it did much because it was only $1 when they were basically minimum wage already. If you see parks actually like going up to these amounts, do you think Palace will follow suit? I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. And
They just I don't
yeah,
I don't trust Palace to do the right thing though. So
will that
you
bite them in
remember
the
like a
butt? We'll
year
see.
ago? Remember a year ago when I was like, oh no, Palace is they're
Something's
kind of
coming.
getting they're getting better, man. They're like cleaning things up, and
They're getting
then
ready for something big. Yeah.
boom,
The big thing was
they
not
just
not in the right
exploded.
direction. No. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. King's Dominion raising their wage to $13 an hour, and the zoo up in Columbus is introducing a new roller coaster. It's
Oh,
the first of
Columbus
its
just had
kind
a
in Ohio. Did you know
too.
that? Did you know that?
It's the first of its kind.
Yeah, it's the first of its kind in Ohio. It's a spinning wild
I actually
mouse.
somehow really missed this news story until you put it on the rundown.
It's not a big news
So,
story. It's just like it's like a 40-foot, 30-mile-per-hour, I think, wild mouse going to the Columbus Zoo. But I mean, people are excited about it because it's another credit in Ohio, right? And all the Cedar Point
although
fanboys are like, "Oh, I can get another credit."
them saying, well, Columbus isn't exactly near.
Not necessarily, but it's still it's a short drive for them in Sandusky there.
It's closer to Kings Island. But this roller coaster also does something most others do not. It spins. I
Mm.
mean, have they looked? There's quite a few.
Yeah.
I mean, just SBF visas alone.
It spins though. That's interesting. That's awesome. Hence the name Tidal Twist.
So it actually, I wonder. I assume RCDB doesn't have anything about it yet, do they?
I can't say I've checked, so I don't know. But
Well, I am checking right now.
yes, this is going to be a new ride at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. It's the only zoo in the United States to feature 2 roller coasters.
Yep.
So if you need to get your
And they
creds
have
there you go.
They have their PTC.
Yeah.
Well, is it like I'm not a huge fan of zoos, but I've always kind of wanted to go there just to ride this coaster, the Sea Dragon.
Well, I
Now,
thought you were about to
RCDB
say
doesn't-
the Tidal Twist. I'm like, wow, you somehow were a prodigy and you knew about the like the forecoming of this ride.
No, but I am really curious what model it is.
I'm not sure. I know it's a Zamperla, but I don't know.
It is a Zamperla.
It is a Zamperla, yes.
Is it the Revertron model?
I don't know. I'm curious now
was
too
that
as well.
Zamperla is who bought Revertron, right?
I believe. See, you
That-
definitely know more
that's
about the
cool.
the
I
whole
never-
Revertron aspect of.
Yeah, it's so hard to follow. Like that whole story of like how Revertron and like the mice, like Exterminator and Raging Cajun were like sold by 2 completely different companies, but they were literally built by the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
I think RCDB now updated it finally to show that they are actually the same coaster, but okay, so well, wait. Okay, so in 2003, Zamperla announced that they would manufacture and sell Revertron amusement rides worldwide under a license agreement. Then in 2005, that was dissolved. Then in 2008, Revertron filed for bankruptcy and Zamperla bought.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Rival roller coaster company Zamperla continues marketing the Twister coaster.
All right, so that's probably what this is.
Which is that the is that the Exterminator? No, that's Spinning Coaster original. What is a Twister coaster? Oh, we're going down a whole rabbit hole here just
of
because.
spinning wild mouse coasters.
Well, RCDB doesn't even say twisting coaster anywhere.
Nowhere.
So, well, I mean, not under Revertron. Well, wait, maybe it's under Zamperla.
There is a twister coaster under Zamperla.
It's under Zamperla.
It is. I don't know, but then there's like different models of the twister coaster. What kind of is it? A compact, a custom, a super, or a junior?
or a 420 standard.
Yeah. Or 420 standard. Let's see. Let me look at the stats of some of these and see if it's similar. It's probably not a junior because the junior ones look like they're not 40. None of these are 40 feet.
So I think the 420 standard is.
Yeah, I think that's what this is.
I think that's the Raging Cajun and Exterminator model.
I think that might be what this is as well, because this ride is going to be about 40 feet tall, and that's how tall these are. It's going to go about 30 miles an hour. That's about how fast this ride's going. Yeah, 30 miles an hour. So that's probably what this is.
So that's a weird thing. Like, I think. Wait, do they have the stats of the? Yeah, it's a single row. The Twister Coaster is a single row. That must be the Twister Coaster under Zamperla must be the same as the Revertron.
It probably is.
It's such a weird. It's such a.
And I kid you not, I rode one of these in Florida, and I thought of that as well. There's a Galaxy spin at Fun Spot America, and we got in the seats, and I'm like, this is the Raging Cajun and Exterminator ride. Like it's just like it, yeah. And yeah, and that's one of that's I see that now. That's on the list right there of the Twister 420 standards. So yeah, that's probably what we're looking at here. So if you guys are really intrigued and invested in what kind of Zamperla spinning coaster this is, you got it. We're your source for everything roller coasters. So
unless we're completely wrong, then
watch it be like a junior 300XD, some weird like
Zamperla version of a Mauer,
yeah, or something
like laugh track.
Yeah. Oh, that would be hilarious. That would be great.
No, my money is actually.
Yeah, you can put your bets on that being a 420 standard, but we'll hope we can hope for the best. A little bit more exciting news out of Great Adventure, Six Flags Great Adventure, as they're going to be hosting Coaster Power Hours in April and May. So they're going to be selling a limited amount of tickets each night to park goers, and that's going to give you the chance to ride all 12 of their roller coasters that they have operational for this event, from 4 to 9 on Thursdays, and from, I think it's like 6 to 11 on Fridays. So you're going to get to basically get a lot of ERT on these rides. I mean, you're having a limited amount of ticket sales, and you have 12 roller coasters open. Typically with ERT sessions, I've only been to like 1 or 2 where the entire park is open. That's Holiday World, which only has 5, so it kind of makes sense. And then when we went to Fiesta Texas, they had most of the coasters open for ERT. But that's the only 2 events I think I've been to where every coaster, or at least a lot of them, were open. And that typically works out really well because, of course, everyone's spread out everywhere. So you very, very rarely have any type of line at all. So this is going to be the time to go, I think.
It does also, I mean, sure, they say limited number of passes, but how much is limited?
How limited? Yeah, we don't know the exact.
Busch Gardens says that they're limiting admission, but reports are saying it can't be the case. So, you know, parks have different definitions.
This is, well, we got to keep in mind, this is a New Jersey, New York area, though. So there's a little bit more stricter protocol and rules to follow up there, it seems. It seems to be getting looser in Virginia, and in Florida it was pretty non-existent at all, as you can imagine, I'm sure.
Well, but I also heard some stories about Magic Mountain.
Already?
Like, people were saying there's absolutely no way this is. Actually, a lot of people were saying that they weren't even checking for reservations when people were entering.
I'm shocked by that. Especially
I am
with
too,
like California
but
craziness.
Like, that's the thing. I
don't know. That's crazy. I had not heard that. But
I mean, it's obviously I can't 100% confirm that, but I saw enough people talk about it from different sources, and recognizing a couple people as being generally sane. It's just kind of like, but see, that's the other thing, it sucks, but the reality is, how much enforcement of this stuff is actually good? Like, is Six Flags literally saying, like, "Yep, so what? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? We sold too many passes. So what? Like, what are you gonna do?" And that is a question. What are they gonna do? What is California gonna do?
Yeah. Shut them
Not
down again?
really gonna do anything. I mean,
that's not happening.
they could, but I think the reality is that let's also, like, there's also that fact of, like, well, prove it. Well, how are you gonna prove it? Like, it's just,
It's either that they're saying that straight up, or they're doing it under the table and very shady and like somehow hiding it almost from officials.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and this is like, I can't say that this is happening. This is not happening for sure. But I mean, there's definitely some things that make you wonder what's really going on. Plus, I mean, let's be honest. I think right now, like, any amusement park in California is just fed up with California, and they probably really genuinely don't care what they say.
Yeah, they probably are like, hey, you guys kept us on a leash for I don't know how long, like almost a year. Yeah, that might just be flipping them off, so to speak. Suck on this, apples. We're letting these people in. We're getting our revenue. Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious to see if this is an actually exclusive event, or if it's just basically, I mean, I really hope it's not just an extended amount of park time, If it's just letting all these people in and a bunch of people get to go in, it's basically just like having the park open but only having 12 coasters open. So right. in that aspect, it would actually be worse than just opening up the whole park. Right. So I hope they actually do keep this exclusive and limited. Because if not, this event's not worth it, and it's not
a lot of
at all
times
anything
ERT
exciting.
Doesn't really become ERT because the exclusivity of the ERT is left
diminished
a lot to be desired.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exclusive, extra, that needs to be, I mean, if you're going to call it that, and if you're going to hype that up for that reason, then yeah, there needs to be that. If they just said this is, if they said this is a special event and we're doing all this and whatever, that's different. But when they call it like power hours, you're going to get your rides in, do all that, I think you got to stay true to your word somewhat. Interestingly enough, they said that there's going to be music, special foods, and a surprise each hour. I don't know what that means. I mean, that's all that's in this article here. And that was what was said by a park spokeswoman in an email, that there's going to be a surprise each hour. I'm curious as to what that is. If that's something cheesy and dumb, it probably is. It's Six Flags. It'll probably be some like
El Toro breaks down. Breaks down.
Every hour we blow up a ride that you're on. I'm just it's the real power hour. All right.
No, they'll probably open a flat ride each hour.
Yeah. Or they subsequently just close a ride every hour until everything's just closed.
Now I really do want to know what that is.
Yeah, I do too.
We'll have to watch social media tomorrow. I got Twitter covered. You got the rest.
Well, actually, it should have started tonight. Tonight's Thursday.
I thought it was the 16th.
Maybe does it start the 16th? All right.
Yeah, it starts
the 16th, but it's not. But then it will go on Thursdays after this date. All right, that makes sense. Okay, well. Yeah, well, it's good to look out for. Also, real quick, I do want to point out that they are. It says they're doing a Skull Mountain remix. So instead of having the typical indoor coaster section where it's kind of like dark and there's like a skeleton in the middle and there's some cool lighting, it's not really that impressive. It says it's going to be transformed with music and moving lights. So it's going to be like a dance party in there, I guess. They're going to have like strobe lights, and I would imagine like.
Dark ride is no longer dark, is what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the dark section anymore. It's going to be filled with all this luminous, and so, yeah, that's interesting. It seems fun. It's $24 each for groups up to 15 or more, and $29.99 for general admission. So, does Does season pass holders get in for free? Is that how it works? Or
That was $4.99.
yep.
Yeah,
All right, $4.99. Yep.
$4.99.
Right in my right in front of my face. So yeah, $5 for a season pass holder, which I think, depending on how exclusive this ends up being, is a fair, reasonable price. If we start hearing that this is bombarded with people, hopefully that's not the case. But if we do that will be kind of a ripoff, I think. But yeah, if this is truly exclusive, that seems fair.
Yeah, it's but is it all the coasters? How many coasters do they have?
They have more than, I think they have more than 12. I think it's 14 or 15. They're probably just not operating. I would imagine the kiddie rides, the kiddie coasters aren't going to be operational. And then I don't know.
Harley Quinn Crazy Train's open.
That's not a kiddie coaster.
I mean, it's family.
Yeah, they consider that a family ride. I don't know about. I'm pretty sure they have. Let me look real quick.
So what happens if you try to bring a kid that's like 36 inches tall? Do they just will they actually say no? Or will they say, sure, we'll take your money?
They have every 12 coasters open. They only have 12 coasters and they have all 12 open. Interesting. I thought they had more. But they do not. All right. Well, that is what will be open. So you get the full package there, actually. Funny enough, also, the actual name of this is actually a story that when I was at Carowinds one year, I think one of the first years of my enthusiast journey, so to speak, I was at Carowinds and we were on Intimidator, and I kid you not, I hit the hour before the park was about to close. It hit that hour on the dot. It was 9 o'clock. Let's say they closed at 10. It was 9 o'clock, and all of a sudden, the ops were kind of mediocrely, they were 2-minute dispatches, maybe 3 minutes. And then all of a sudden, they got a new person in the ride operator booth, and it just went crazy, and she just started yelling, "It is the power hour, people, let's go." It was crazy. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's a pullback to a memory I forgot I even have it. Yeah.
I actually have a friend that told me a story once when they were at Cedar Point. They were just basically marathoning Millennium Force until the park closed. I don't remember what time he said the park closed, but let's just say it was 10 p.m. He said he was they were just doing it. Suddenly he's like, this just seems like we've got a lot of rides in. And he looked down at his watch and it was 10:45. And they were still letting people keep riding Millennium Force. The park had been closed for almost an hour and they were still letting people just keep marathoning Millennium Force. He said he never understood what happened, why it happened. As they walked out, he said there was that was it. It was just the people in Millennium Force. Yeah. Nobody said anything this is a special thing, nothing like that. He was just it was just he's
it wasn't one of those. I wonder if they knew, if they were just going and going and going.
It's every ride was shut down. It wasn't even they were working through the queues. No, everything was shut down by the time they were out of the park. There was just nobody left. It was literally just these people that they just kept letting ride Millennium.
So did they eventually, I'm sure, told him it was time? Or maybe they just tired and just ready to leave.
It was
it's 1 a.m. All right, guys, that's enough for me.
Actually, I'm trying to remember. I know he said that they went for over an hour after park close, but I actually don't remember if it was okay, they finally closed it, or if everybody just got literally
just all right. I think I've had enough.
I don't know. I think they eventually, said that. I don't remember, but he's never seen it happen again. It was just that one night. He goes to Cedar Point a lot. Him and his wife, they go up there quite a bit. And he's never had it happen before or after that night. It was just that night. And it wasn't even they I know sometimes they would do the exclusive season pass, late night. Yeah. But he's nobody was checking season passes or anything like that. It was just literally everybody just kept riding. There was nothing,
just the ghost.
That is what I would call a true power hour.
Yeah. Indeed. I love, Millennium Force marathoning that ride. I got an ERT session similarly. I mean, it was an actual official ERT session, but You saying that just brought me back to that ERT I got on a while back. Honestly, we were supposed to get Steel Vengeance ERT, and I was so mad that we didn't get Steel Vengeance ERT, but I could not have asked for a better ERT session. That was the ERT session that really improved my attitude towards Millennium Force. I didn't really think it was that great of a ride, and then we marathoned it like 30 times, and that was when we had an individual who told us to sit like 3 or 4 rows up from the back, and this is the best seat in the ride, and it was actually really impressive. So that, on a side note, made me think of that, because
I remember
getting that time.
I would definitely rather marathon Millennium Force than Steel Vengeance. I mean, I
haven't had that experience yet, so I would love to now marathon Steel Vengeance and see which one I wouldn't, because I really did enjoy that marathon on Millennium Force.
I mean, Steel Vengeance ranks higher for me than Millennium Force. It's definitely not my number one. We all know that story. But
what? Really?
I've never had a chance to marathon it, but I don't think I'd be comfortable marathon, because it's like, I don't know, the first half of it's like, I don't like it takes so long to go down and up the hills, but then like the very end of it is just like, it's like, it was like this, like, we're running out of ideas, so Alan Schilke was just like, let's just beat them until they're senseless. Like, that's just kind of how I feel like the ride goes. It's just like bam, 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 bam. I'm like, yeah.
It's abusive.
yeah. I just don't. I mean, I like it, but I don't think I could. I don't think I could deal with it.
I think
now,
I could.
Twisted Timber,
and I really would love to try it at least.
Well, okay, I shouldn't say I couldn't deal with it. I should, but what I mean is,
you wouldn't want to.
I would enjoy Millennium Force marathon more than I would enjoy a Steel Vengeance marathon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just because I just feel like that it's more
again,
of a marathon.
I only got 3 rides on Steel Vengeance when I went back in 2017. I really liked it. I didn't get that same experience. I don't know. We'd obviously have different builds, different ages. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'll go back and get that same experience, but I would love to try that marathon and see because honestly, like you're saying, not being your favorite ride doesn't necessarily mean that's not as fun to marathon. Like, there are some rides that are just fun to marathon. Grizzly, for example, is not my favorite ride at the park at Kings Dominion, but that'll be my marathon for the night sometimes, instead of Twisted Timbers or Intimate 305, just because it's so fun to marathon. So I honestly, there might be a ride that I'm like, oh yeah, Millennium Force, actually I do prefer getting that ERT and getting that marathon on. So I would totally love to be able to compare and contrast and juxtapose those two experiences.
Yeah, that is an interesting fact. Like, if I could, like, I mean, I'd have to really think about this, but like, if you came up with your top 10 list of like the top 10 coasters to marathon, like, it wouldn't just be your favorite coasters.
No. My number 1 probably would be. But because I could marathon that thing. I know some people can't, but I think I might try the one of the days, try the 100 rides in a row thing with my airtime mic.
Here's the thing about Voyage. Voyage hurts me after a while.
Yep, you've said, yeah.
But it's so good that I don't care.
Yeah. That's how you got to do it. Is it worth it? Is it worth the pain? That's how you got to measure it. That thing, thing definitely does. It does take a toll on me. It's like a physical exertion for sure. But I don't care. I persevere through it. I love it so much. A coaster that I absolutely love, that I wouldn't even dream of. I think I do. I didn't do a back-to-back ride of it because it was just so intense. Blue Streak at Conney. Oh my God. No way. I was going to say that. Oh, I should have said that before you said it.
It is such a fun ride, but I mean, I went there with my dad, and literally it was like they're like, nobody was in line. The ride operator's like, you want to go again? My dad was like, I probably would have said yes begrudgingly. My dad was like, no, I need to get off. I mean, he took a break and we rode it again. He rode it again because it's that good. But unfortunately, you won't get a chance to try that this year.
Yeah, I know. I really need to get up there and try it out, and they took it away from me this year. I won't be able to.
Yeah. So Blue Streak, Conneaut did announce that Blue Streak and the Tumblebug will not be operating this year. I'm still in this, like, I don't think Conneaut's going full Kennywood or anything. But I don't know. I still question what's going on. But I will say that, I mean, I'm absolutely fine with this. I think this is a great year for you to just kind of work on
Coast a
stuff,
little bit,
repair
yeah.
stuff, like do that work. This is a great year for you to do that. But next year, those rides better be back and they better be the same.
Or Bob's gonna be there with a vengeance.
Right. And it better not be Blue Vengeance.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is it's kind of funny how this all transpired. Was a lot of locals were like, basically, they were like, guys, the Tumblebug's disappearing. Hey, what's going on? Like, people were freaking out. And Conneaut Lake actually had the new owner had to actually make a statement and say, look, nope, we're not getting rid of it. We're just doing a refurb this year for it. And hey, if that's what they're doing, that's fine.
Look for it at Knoebels next year. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it better be back. And Blue Streak, I mean, I know Blue Streak needs some work. I just hope that it doesn't affect. It's weird. I almost feel like if you actually really truly fix Blue Streak, it's going to fall on my ranking lists. I mean, it's a top 5 coaster for me right now. But I'm curious, if you actually fix it correctly, it may not be up there anymore.
I'm curious to see if your list is like, you have the top 5 there and Blue Streak's there and it goes down. I'm curious to see if we could like take a mean average of everyone else's and see if it's increasing or decreasing overall if they did do a major fix.
See, here's the problem. The majority of roller coaster enthusiasts haven't been on that coaster.
Yeah, a lot of them haven't.
It's sad because, I mean, and like, that's going to be the problem. If it falls in my rankings, well, okay, but like, you have a lot of other people that might like never actually experienced it in its, I don't want to say form of glory, but
it's true form. It's essential form, the form that was created in.
But one thing I want to say about this, though, that the one thing that's kind of keeping me going with these new owners is the trustees who basically had control of the park for the last decade or two. I think it's been almost 2 decades. They had, some people judge them without actually like taking into account everything, but they actually got the park into a really good shape. But here's the thing that I think is going to be their legacy. The fact that locals were paying attention that a ride was starting to be dismantled from the park. That shows me that the true legacy that the trustees are leaving behind is they actually got people to love the park again. Because if this scenario played out 10 years ago, nobody would have even noticed that ride was disappearing. But in the last year or two, ignoring 2020 because that doesn't count. That's one thing that has happened is the locals really started appreciating their local park again. Enough, it's so much so that they actually were like, hey, wait, hold up. You can't just get rid of this. Like, that's part of our park. And I think that is the true legacy of the trustees, is they actually succeeded in getting people to love the park again. And, this new owner they've got a good run. They're set up to do some really good things as long as they do this properly.
Yeah, I agree. I think we could see some really good things out of Conney. And in the article, one of the quotes that I was reading off earlier is from the actual park owner, saying that the goal is not to demolish the history of the park at all, but rather to find the ideal balance of the old and new. Above all else, the safety of children and yours is obviously of our highest priority. So I guess that was in regards to why they were doing such maintenance acts on these rides.
Well, see, there's another thing. Like, this all depends. First of all, that statement in itself, I mean, you could say that that statement applies to Knoebels, and it also applies to Kennywood. But if Conney is speaking as the way Knoebels looks at it, cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
If they're speaking in the sense of how Kennywood says it, like, hold up, stop. You can't, don't go down that path, because there's a different definition of, what is part of the park's history. You can't just
they need
get
to be
rid
able
of
to introduce new rides and balance that historical nature. Yeah. I mean, because Knoebels, you think they have Impulse, that's not a traditional old-fashioned ride, but it works well at the park because they integrated it well, and it fits.
And they still make sure that these rides, like
that are older,
the classics that Knoebels has, they stick around. They make sure, like, that's a big part of Knoebels. They recognize that, and they, that's a big part of it. I mean, certainly there's buildings in Knoebels that are a big deal, but the rides are also important as part of their history. And hey, sometimes it's going to happen. You're going to get to a point where there's just nothing you can do. But I mean, something with like Tumblebug, it's a simple machine.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, no, I'm not going to say I could go there and fix it with my eyes shut, because I couldn't. But
maybe you
in
could.
comparison to what you're dealing with, it's not like it's it's not like a lot of other rides where there's it's very complicated to get parts, you just remanufacture. You do, you can keep things going for a lot longer when it's like this simple technology.
And am I wrong, or is this the only Tumblebug left, or is there one at Kennywood, right?
Kennywood has one. Those are the only two,
right? And those are the only two left. Yeah. So this is a ride that means a lot.
I can't trust Kennywood to. I mean, so we're
next
really
year that's
gone.
Next year that and 4 others will be gone. So we gotta. Come on, Cognac. We trust in you. Please don't let us down.
Yeah, it's pretty important that they actually preserve this. And I mean, by all means, bring new stuff in as well.
Yeah.
The other thing that there's, I saw somebody make the comment that it's definitely gonna go this way, but I don't think there's anything's a definite. One of the other great things about Blue Streak was it's an unrestrained ride. There are no restraints in that ride. And that doesn't make it unsafe, but some people would say in their mind, oh, well, that can't be safe. I don't want to see Blue Streak end up, being one of those coasters where you're really restrained, because that's part of what Blue Streak is. I mean, we already saw the other Blue Streak at Cedar Point. Just going from buzz bars to the ratcheting lap bars really destroyed that ride.
Yeah.
I don't want to see restraints in. I mean, something kind of needs to be done about the trains. I would hope they'd rebuild them. But I don't want to see it. You can maybe even do just like what Jackrabbit is, and just do the little leather strap that goes over your quote seatbelt unquote. I might even be okay with that, but I think that's an important thing. I think Blue Streak needs to remain a coaster that you're not really restrained in. So I hope they realize that as well.
Yeah, that those aspects of these older rides make the older rides what they are. So when people say, "Oh, let's modernize this ride," or let's improve this ride," it's like, well, let's be careful with what you mean by that and what ways you're going to do that, because that could easily just basically destroy the ride at all. And then at that point, you just get rid of it. Like, we don't want that. It's not the same ride. It's not doing the same thing. It's not functioning in the same sense. So, yeah, keeping the ride true to its nature is important. And again, you got to strike that balance. You got to make sure that you're doing it in a good way. And that about concludes the news segment. Now, when we get to the second half of the show, it's time to talk the good old Florida state.
Yeah, and I gotta say that I'm actually excited about this because you have a story that you refused to tell me
Refused
until we record.
You didn't even know
this
that the story existed.
So
let me just add that in there. I refuse to
you're
tell
not
you.
telling you told me you're not telling me this story until we go live. So I'm actually really curious about what this story is. It better be good, James. It better be good.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good story, yeah.
Find out after the break. All right, that's half done.
Did I really snag it twice in front of you? Or were you just being
Yeah, you did. You were like literally a horse. Actually, the second time, I don't know if you were in front of me. I know the first time you were like right in front of me. Well, you weren't right in front of me, but you were the like whoever was between us didn't actually catch a ring. Or yeah. So it would have been if you wouldn't have got it, I would have actually got the brass ring. The second time you got one, I'm actually not sure if you were.
I'm great like that.
Yeah. If you say
so. What were you guys? What was the? This should be the poll question. What was that in reference to?
Oh, the marathoning coaster.
Oh, what coasters do you want to marathon? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm kind of.
Timmy said it in all caps. I was like, is that really?
I don't know. I mean, that would fit the show more. So maybe we save the launch one for later.
All right, let's just do this.
Mike. No, we haven't talked about Volcano yet.
Timmy, you said it in all caps. I thought you were like, I don't know if you're like laughing or like it was like really that great. I was like, what's going on? This should be the poll question. What's up, Mike?
I don't know. Do you think I'll end up talking about Volcano the second half?
I don't think so. Not unless you just bring it up at the very beginning before we talk about Florida.
You didn't go to Volcano Bay, did you?
We didn't. Nope. So that won't.
We could talk about that volcano that erupted. Where was that? I forget.
I do remember seeing that, but I don't remember where it was at. It was somewhere in the Caribbean, I think. Was it?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay. What coasters do you want to marathon?
What's your favorite coaster to marathon? I think that would be the best way to ask that.
I honestly think my favorite coaster marathon might be Grizzly.
Look at this. Valley Fair is increasing their wages to $13.50 an hour.
There we go. I think Cedar Fair is probably just doing it all as a company, just in separate waves, it seems.
I think Six Flags and Cedar Fair are both.
Yeah, true. Oh. Gonna be fun, Timmy. Florida trip time. Should we start off with that, or maybe we wait like halfway, make it like build some anticipation? I'm not gonna start off with the big story because that might like lead it down like a slow slope of kind of boring stories after that. We'll talk about Pam getting cussed out by a 12-year-old. That we'll talk about that too. But
Oh, Pam.
is Pam still here? Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say, Cam. Let me see. I can check. She's not. She left.
Did.
She left without saying bye. Either that or she's just not appearing on my. Nope, she's here. Never mind. Pam, you just must be like incognito because I don't see you on my.
She's asleep. Shh, she's sleeping.
Maybe after an inactive amount of time, it just.
Oh, Marcus.
What is he up to now?
Nostalgia isn't a good reason to ride. And he has.
What is that argument? I hate that argument. Who ever
Vortex.
said? Who has ever claimed that?
Hyde started it.
Yeah, I know, but that argument is.
I mean,
is really dumb.
He's
Who's ever
not
said?
completely wrong. Like there are some errors that's kind of the classification.
I don't know anyone that's ever ridden an Arrow or a Schwarzkopf and said, I like that rod because I have nostalgia for it, or I like it because.
Well, no, nobody actually said that, but it's not true of it, especially Schwarzkopfs. I mean, like even Super
really
Duper Looper is a lot of fun.
Scorpion was insane.
There's some serious G's on Super Duper Looper.
There's serious G's on pretty much every Schwarzkopf. Schwarzkopfs are just that's just how I build them. Yeah. So I don't understand where he's coming from. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some more water. I'm back. I know. Thank you very much. So now you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face.
Oh, active event shooting in Chicago. Crazy. Man, crazy.
It was really wasn't really that great, but I don't think I should
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Anyone else think Vortex was okay? I didn't think it was good. How some might say it, mediocre. That's about as much as I'll give that ride. I don't know. Am I buffering here? Is what's happening? Bob broke my laptop. Who's not wrong? Am I not wrong? Oh, never mind. I think you're not even referencing. You guys aren't even listening to me. This is the only time that I can even give my true thoughts on Vortex without Bob obliterating me. Is it buffering? It's not buffering on my end. I can... Alright, well, if it's not buffering now, should be good. So, Vortex, not that good, right? It was alright. It was fun. It was fine. I don't know. I don't ever want to advocate for a coaster to be destroyed or to be removed, but I don't know if I would say I was downtrodden like Bob was when this happened. I mean, I wouldn't say I disliked it. I wouldn't say I loved it. It was alright. Yeah, it was fun.
The heck? I go away and you start buffering? Just deal with that.
Yeah, it was like, oh crap, Bob's not here. There's no need to run perfect and well. Just this guy. Just the guy that drops me all the time.
What did Timmy like?
Vortex.
Oh yeah, Vortex at Kings Island.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Vortex was terrible in the front, but it was amazing in the back.
I don't know. It was pretty good. It was alright. It was fun. It was fun to me. I didn't think it was anything to write home about.
That first drop in the back was just amazing.
That's why I wrote it too, in the back. So maybe, I don't know. But I remember I was kind of like nervous. I was like, this probably isn't the best place to ride a brand new Arrow that I've never ridden before, but let's just go for it.
No, it was far better. The front was just, the front was really, really headbangy, but the back was just, because I was riding with Piper and I was like, look, this is the only chance you'll ever get to try it. So, because we just kept riding back. I'm like, let's try it. So we got off. She's like, I don't ever want to ride it in the front again. I'm like, me neither.
Vortex at Carowinds, yeah, easily best ride. Probably the best ride of all time, actually.
Oh God, that
it's better than Voyage, I would say, when it's running well. You think Vortex at Kings Island? Are we talking about that? Because I don't I don't think that's a fair.
What?
I think Timmy's talking about Vortex at Kings Island. I think Tennessee Tornado is far better than Vortex at Kings Island was, but I think Tennessee Tornado is like great. Vortex is like good, pretty.
I actually liked Vortex a lot better than I liked Tennessee Tornado. I honestly did.
Cam, thank you. There we go. I don't know. That's not actually. I didn't. Tennessee Tornado is very smooth, but I don't know if that's not really why I like it better.
You know what though? Okay, I'm tired. Like, I hate people who like say arrows aren't smooth. They kind of are. Their transitions are just not good.
They're profiled poorly.
Yeah, but that's not rough. That like, it's still a very smooth ride. And it's the same as like Firebird. Firebird's an extremely smooth ride, but God forbid I ever ride it again.
Tennessee Tornado's drop to me is one of the best. That drop is just I didn't think Vortex's drop was all that when I rode it. It was good.
Amazing in the back. That was seriously like a top drop, like of all, like it was amazing. I love that drop in the back.
I don't know. It's kind of different strokes, but different folks. It's strange to me. I mean, me and Timmy were literally riding Mako last week, and he's like having a complete coaster orgasm on it, and I'm like, this is pretty good. Like it was okay. It was pretty good. It was fun. It was really. It's my second favorite B&M Hyper. It's really. But he was like acting like it was, like Voyage or something. It was like we were riding Voyage together. I could not comprehend where he was finding this like insane greatness out of the ride. So I mean, that just shows you that. Is there a timer?
Indeed, yeah. It is.
Islands of Adventure Drop Tower.
Really, Firebird isn't terrible as a whole. It's just that first corkscrew, especially. Well, both the two corkscrews really are bad. That first one, though, I like. It has to give people concussions.
You can't not everybody. Something in your top 10 that you're not riding currently.
The people that marathon that are going to end up with CTE.
I'm going to marathon that.
They're going to go to a doctor and they're going to be like, "Why'd you play football for all those years?" No, I didn't play any football. I just rode Firebird.
Me and Timmy next time we're in America, we're just the whole day marathon that for 10 hours.
Have at it. That's less people in line for Roar. I could marathon that.
Yeah, Cam, your pool's like how much though? Like 70 coasters? That's probably why. Like once you start expanding that list, it probably won't be. I mean, I don't dislike Mako. It's probably my top 25. It's just, I don't know. It's just something else. Timmy's like, yes, wow, and I'm like, yay, woo.
Timmy knows what's up. I don't know. I haven't. I do need to ride. I need to get down. I need to do Florida. I need to get there.
We might be going back in June if you want to tag along. Well, we are going back in June actually, but actually no. Crap, I forgot.
There's no way I can't in June.
Yeah, either way, it's the week that you're going to. You're doing the Great Adventure trip.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're skipping CoasterCon because we're like, we've ridden everything at all these parks. We've gone to all these parks, and Florida Velocicoaster will be open, and Anguazi will probably be open by then as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I really kind of want to do CoasterCon just because, like, the behind-the-scenes stuff at Knoebels would probably be freaking amazing. But I would
like to do CoasterCon, but I would more want to do Florida.
There's a lot going on in June. There's Hollywood Nights, and then the Stumble if I go to it, which I think I'm gonna go.
I won't be going to that because I'll probably be working that day, so I can give you guys some ERT. Maybe I'll be on schedule for the ERT session that they might be getting.
Yeah,
it must be really easy to access ERT because I'm pretty sure, like, they must just email the park and say, "Hey, we have a podcast. We have some people coming.
Yeah, but do you know how big their turnout is? Like, it's massive.
Yeah, for the stumbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, that's what it's the number of people that
Sure, but I'm saying like if we got enough people to go, we could probably get. I mean, it would take a lot of coordination, but I think we could possibly do something like that eventually.
do enough people listen to us that would do enough people care about you and me? We'll do
Well,
it
the
in
thing is with them, they
collaboration.
have like a whole group. They have like a whole like 20 people group that like already goes along with them anyway, like all the time, just for fun, kind of. And then they probably get like 10 or 15 more people that are just listeners at wherever they're at. So if we could get like a whole squad
Amen.
together,
I mean, also takes money to be able to go to all these parks all the time.
well, I'm saying we could do one like near here, like Virginia, Kings Dominion or Bush.
I don't know.
I feel like that's
Let's
probably where
get
we have the most listeners as well.
we'll, we'll
Is
do
in
a collaboration with Airtime Mike. How's that sound, Mike?
in collaboration with Airtime Mike and Kosher Talk Pod.
Yeah.
We present you whatever our ERT session name is going to be.
You've never been to a Six Flags park?
Wow.
Oh, Cam, I forgot. I meant to send another tweet to you and I forgot. I needed to explain the thing about when I said about the SeaWorld Retro and I mentioned the park in Ohio near a lake. And you said about Six Flags. What I meant by saying I don't remember those flags, but I remember having a fun time. It was, I think it was what, it was only like a couple years that SeaWorld was next to Six Flags because the majority of the Six Flags years, Six Flags actually bought SeaWorld. So SeaWorld was really a fixture for Geauga Lake, which Fun Time owned. So that's what I meant by that. I don't think I was actually really clear, and I meant that I was like, oh, I need to send a follow-up tweet, and then I totally forgot about that.
What? Why did she call you Timmy?
Why is she calling you Timmy? She called Timmy to tell you something.
Yeah, probably. Because I have the alarm on to come in my room. I'm just kidding. No. Why don't you be like, oh, trip planning? All right. I was going to be like, why don't you be like, I'm your new dad or something? I'm just kidding. No, that would be Timmy. That would be a Timmy response, though.
Oh, Kim, there's also the fact that I try to ignore the fact that Six Flags was ever in Ohio. Because those were sad, sad times.
Yep, there we go, Timmy. I'm surprised that wasn't held for review. I guess it's a scientific word for it, though. She's already talking to you about that? She hasn't even talked to me about that yet. All right, well, I guess we should talk about the Florida trip we just had. That might make sense, right?
All right, guys. We need the Coaster Talk army to back me up here on Twitter.
The brigade.
Yep. Drunk Riders is saying that Vortex wasn't fun.
Since I say it's fun, I'll go along with it. That's what I use to
There you
describe it, though. If they start saying great and excellent and fantastic, I might have to tone out on it.
He said, haha, you said fun. I replied, I said, indeed I did. I probably should have said highly enjoyable.
I don't know, highly enjoyable. Starting to get to my no-no zone. Enjoyable, I'll say.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I could say maybe you really were drunk when you were riding this ride because it's pretty great. Hey, it was bad during spring break exactly, so we can make through it, Mike, trust me. We just went through some pretty tough times down there anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with that too, because I don't know when my pass is gonna expire with SeaWorld. Whenever they decide they're done giving me free months. First time I see a charge, I'm calling them. Cancel. Don't want this anymore.
I'm having a tough time structuring the sentences. I'm saying maybe Vortex was pretty good. That sounds like that leads it up to like a kind of a small, not really a great, like, yeah, it was pretty good. It's not like, yeah, it was great or it was awesome or fantastic.
All coasters should be salvaged.
Okay. I'll just say great, even though I don't really necessarily think that, because in the sense they're saying it's trash. So
You have to join that virtual queue like a week before you go.
now how they do it is you actually have to be at the park to join the virtual queue, which sucks.
Oh, so you have to turn location services on? Is that what you're
You
saying?
do, yep.
Jerks. What if you don't have a cell phone?
You are shitata out of luck, I guess. I don't think it's. And the stupid thing is, they still have like 2.5 hour lines with the virtual queue. We waited for Hagrid's for like 2 hours.
That's ridiculous.
And then it was like, I don't understand the point of virtual queues if that. Yeah, June's definitely gonna be busy, but Mike, let me tell you, this past week it was crazy busy. I mean, oh man, every single ride had like 50, 60 minute waits at like every park we went, and most of them were more than that, but that was just the minimum amount of waiting that we had. I'm sure it'll be just as busy, if not more, but it was crazy. And then we're gonna probably go back for Halloween Horror Nights too, so
Hey.
I'm sure that'll be busy too.
I think you said just as biddy.
Biddy,
Biddy.
biddy boop, biddy boop. All right, should we start this this thing
Probably.
we do every night on Thursdays?
Probably should.
Oh man. You ready?
Yep. I think. All right. 3, 2.
And we're back. And it's time to talk Florida, where I just was actually this past week. It was a really great trip. Yeah, Bob sadly planned on it a little bit. There was a small amount of time where there was some hope for Bob to go, but
hindsight though, I'm really glad I didn't commit to go because I don't think I would have survived I worked that entire week like crazy and I still am teetering on the survivability.
yeah. Well, it was a really great trip, a lot of fun. As I said earlier, a lot of like almost all nighters, but nonetheless, it was one of the best trips I've been on, I think, and it really opened my mind to a whole nother level of park experience with Universal. I have a lot of stories to tell throughout all the parks we went to, but Universal easily one of my new favorite parks. I don't want to rank it with the other parks that I've been to because I don't think it's fair, because this is a multi-billion-dollar park that has the easeability to just build a new $100 million ride like that. So I don't think it's fair to say like, oh, it's up there with Holiday World or whatever, because it's just not the same. So I don't know where I'm going to put it. I don't know if I'm going to make like a separate list or what. If I'm not even going to, I'm just going to say Universal is one of my favorites. I might just have like a favorites list that's not even like a part of my actual like just regular park list. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but
Holiday World also doesn't extort you for your internet access either. So
yeah,
there's that as well.
They don't. But I mean, how do you access their app to get in line for rides? I know they limited to about 5 coasters now, but what if you don't have a phone there? How do you access their like app to
Holiday World? Oh yeah. Well, we should probably like mention to our listeners that are going like, wait, where'd that come from? We were right before we started this segment. We were actually talking about the line down at which one? Oh yeah, Velocicoaster is probably going to have the virtual.
Yes,
like you have to on. So there was they actually did have a system. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think you actually could. Oh no, they had wristbands. So everybody had a wristband.
Yeah, but I thought that was linked to the app somehow.
It was, but if you didn't have a phone, you could go to the ride operator and they could actually they'd scan your wristband and actually put you in the queue that way.
Interesting. So
I'm pretty sure I mean, we didn't do it that way because I think my sister used her phone to.
But doesn't that kind of defeat the point? I thought the point was like you.
See, well, here's the other thing: they didn't actually have an app either.
A website, yeah, right.
They just used mobile web.
Yeah. I don't know, but nonetheless, we went to Universal, and got on a lot of the rides there. I don't even remember what was I getting into before this.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. All right, well, we'll get back in it. Universal. I went to Universal since that's. We talked about Velocicoaster. Yeah, I don't know where we just were going with that, but we went to Universal. We're talking about Velocicoaster's line, so we'll stay with Universal, and what happened was actually one of the many stories to come from this park, and I really am disappointed with this. So hopefully, if this gets to anybody that's remotely close to a Universal employee, please. I don't understand why there's a virtual line for Hagrid's the motorbike adventure, or magical motorbike, whatever it is. It's the longest name in the world. I've ridden the ride and I still don't know the name. Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Why is there a virtual queue for that attraction if, in addition to that 2 or 3 hour wait you have, like that time you have to come back, there's still a 2.5 hour line to get into the ride that you actually physically have to wait in the queue? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, just have the queue open at that point, because I mean, what was it? It was a 10-hour wait at one point, so they said they know how to manage a long line. So if the virtual queue is not really helping with the length of the line, I don't know what the point of the virtual queue is at all.
Well, I think I think the point is they still want. So here's the one issue you have versus virtual, and honestly, like one of the best examples for this was actually some of the pinball tournaments that I was in. When they did qualifying sessions, they just had a bank of machines that you basically got in line for and you played. You could play 10 machines of any combination, but you had to get in line for those machines. In one year, the one competition in particular, one year you just physically waited in line, and the lines were not that bad. The next year, they did a virtual queue, and the lines were ridiculously long. And the reason for that is there was a deterrent for, like, people wouldn't wait in the line they would just say, I'll come back later, or you know what, I don't care enough to qualify. I'm doing terrible, so I'm not even going to bother with the rest of my entries, or something like that. So they could be deterred because there's 4 people in line. They don't want to wait for 4 games and just standing there and doing nothing. But it's easy to add yourself to a virtual queue because you're not wasting any time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that what you have is you have a situation where having at least some time that you have to wait kind of is somewhat of a deterrent, so that you don't have people trying to marathon the coaster. Because if you're Universal, your goal is basically to make sure everybody gets a chance to ride that coaster. So the only way to really do that is if you deter people from getting in line constantly.
No, that's not what happened. It was aggravating trying to get a reservation for that ride. I mean, it went up in like seconds. Everyone did not get on that ride. I can guarantee. Not even probably half the park. I don't even know how many people got on it.
I'm not saying that everybody got on the ride.
No, but I know they're trying to get as many people as possible, but that definitely still didn't happen because those things were going up like, I mean, it was a rate. I was a rat race to get a reservation for that thing. People were standing outside trying to click. I mean, it was a crap show. Just let people wait in line at that point. I just don't have a 10-hour line. You had a 10-hour line when you opened it. Just do, like, I don't understand. Because I'm still waiting about that time, actually, because it takes about, the times would be like 3 and 4 when you get there at like 8, because the park opened at 8. So
well, yeah, I mean, you can still ride other rides during that.
Sure, yes, but you're waiting but technically you're holding your place for that line for 5 or 6 hours there, and then you have to wait an additional 2.5, 3. Sometimes,
so would you rather wait the whole 10 hours in line and not be able to ride a couple other rides during that time? I mean,
I don't think it would be 10 hours. I was just saying that I think because they have had a 10-hour line, why not just have it open?
Rather physically have to stand in line for the entire length of time versus only 2 hours of that 5 hours or whatever it is.
Again, I don't necessarily know if it would get that long, but I think what was happening is because they had those times, they were like shoving all these people in that got these reservations in at the same time, and that was creating this really long line because no other line was as long as Hagrid's. Hagrid's was definitely the longest line we waited in, and that's, I don't even know if it's the most popular ride there because they have some other really popular attractions.
Let me ask you this.
I think
after you rode it, did you feel like, oh, I want to go through that again, or did you just say, nope, that's my one ride, I'm done?
I said that's my one ride, I'm done.
Right, exactly. But let's say if your virtual queue just let you get in, there was no wait at all whenever your time was actually up of the virtual queue. Would you have considered maybe, oh, let me put myself back in line?
Well, the thing is, the problem was you couldn't get yourself into line.
But would you have tried? If there was no,
we tried, we definitely tried multiple times to get back in line, but you couldn't. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess we can't ride again. So that was my one time I'm done kind of thing.
I thought you just said you didn't. That was your one time you were done.
We only rode it one time, but we tried multiple times to get more times to ride. It was kind of crazy.
People would have been, I'm not going through that again. I don't want to wait in that line again.
No, it wasn't a deterrent like that. I mean, I didn't love waiting in it, but I would like to ride it again, especially because the ride we got wasn't that amazing. It was good. It was a lot of fun, but it was definitely not fantastic like I had heard it was. So I was really like, I want to ride that again. So, but it's just, it was insane trying to do that. I mean, you couldn't get a reservation. It was literally like, it was astonishing when Timmy pulled up his phone and got a reservation, or I mean, it was like his one phone, we're like, oh, it was like the golden shot. It was like everyone was like, oh my god, oh, it was amazing. I mean, he got it and he put in 4 people and we're like, oh my god, we're there, we made it, we hit the big time. That's how much it was. It was crazy. I mean, we got there one morning at 6 a.m. To get there really early. We got there 2 hours before the park opened and we still didn't get on the ride that day. 2 hours before the park opened and we still didn't get reservation for that ride. That's how crazy it was. It's just, I don't think it's a good system. So Yeah, that's just my
I mean,
thoughts on it.
there's no good system. There's no way you could do that
Just
well.
I would rather. So back to your point, sure. You said, would you rather wait in the 5 hour line? If that ensures I'm going to ride, yes, because I want to ride it. I don't want to have to do this playing or trying to get a
Well,
reservation here and there. It's 4 o'clock in the
remember,
afternoon, and we're releasing new
they were
times.
having issues with not being able to do maintenance through the night, which was actually delaying the next day, which caused it to go down the next day in some cases. I mean,
Well,
so that's not
I'm not.
feasible.
Then that's if since this is an isolated case and this ride is so popular and that park is so popular, I'm not against closing off the line early for this. And again, if you tell people and notify them, I would just want to be ensured that I can actually get on the ride that I'm going to this park for. Like that's one of the main reasons to go to the park for me is this awesome roller coaster you guys have. And I can't. I got one ride on the. We went 4 or 5 times to the park and only got one ride. That just seems crazy to me because we got multiple rides on pretty much everything else. Gringotts, Forbidden Journey, everything. Name a ride that is popular and people would want to re-ride, and we rewrote it, except for Hagrid's because of the system. It was just not good. I mean, even nothing else hadn't, like there are other rides there that have that virtual system, and it just they didn't get as packed. But you got to be able to maintain it so that people can ride, because I mean that's important. I mean, it's crazy that we couldn't get any rides on it, but
It is, but you're still, no matter what system you use, even if it's just wait in line. I mean, you might only have like the first half hour. Like if you're not there at park open and at rope drop, you don't get in line because they have to close the line immediately after the park opens because so many people got in line.
I don't think that's necessarily how it would go. I don't
That's
think
literally how it was going.
I know
Well, I
that
mean,
when they opened it and there was a 10-hour line, sure. I don't think there was that many people there to ride that ride in particular. There would be a 10-hour line. There might be a 5-6 hour line, but I don't think it would have gotten to
you have
10.
that many people trying to request that you're like having trouble getting.
I just don't think they left up enough spots. I think that's what the problem was. I think they were trying to limit it, and so they filled it up and they're like, all right, that's it. I don't think they thought
You
about.
just complaining about having to wait 2 hours after your virtual time was up.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that.
So if they opened more spots, that 2-hour line would become a 4-hour line.
They can open more. No, what they would do is they opened it up at the very beginning in the morning. They had they opened it up and people would book their reservations. Then they would open them more up at 11, more up at 4, and I think up to 6 is when they stopped. Listing reservations off. So they were just, I think, limiting that amount of people that would come in that specific time, and then you would have that 2-hour late because all those people were showing up at that specific time. Not because it was always that long.
So you're saying that line was not 2 hours the whole day?
I don't know what it was the whole day. I only got to ride it one time during one downtime of the day. I would imagine it was something similar. Maybe it got down to an hour sometimes, 30 minutes, but I don't know. But when we rode, it was about 2 hours. And it was just, I just don't think it was a good system. That's all. I mean, I'm not saying there's not worse systems or there's not, and I definitely think
I'm not trying to say it's a good system. Don't take it that way. Like it sounds like a disaster. And I know Holiday World system was a disaster when we went. So like I'm not trying to defend the system. I'm just saying that I think they're kind of in an impossible situation where there's no really good way of doing it.
I just don't think it was that no ride there. I mean, rides had 100, 200-minute waits, but no other ride there. And I mean, some of these dark rides are just as popular as the coasters. This is an exception park where like the dark rides, like that is the big thing at the parks as well. Like you have you have Transformers, Jurassic Park, which is a water ride, but it's still like these rides all are as big as the coasters, which in most cases when you go to a park, the Lava Flume isn't the most popular ride, or this dark ride isn't the most popular. It's the coasters, but in this case, the dark rides are, and none of them had. I mean, they had long lines, but they weren't like 10-hour lines, and none of them were that crazy. There was a malfunction that we sent you that one time that had minions at 1,000 minutes, but that was a malfunction. That wasn't actually correct. But I just don't think we would have seen Hagrid's get that long, and I would have much rather again been ensured that I was riding the ride and waited that long.
It's the still vengeance of Universal right now. I mean, it is. That's the best way to describe it. It's the new latest thing. So I mean, it's going to be more popular.
It's more popular, yes, but I don't think the lines would be as long as we saw.
I mean, if people are grabbing those spots and there's a line, obviously there's more people wanting to ride it than what you're seeing. I mean, they're filling them up somehow.
They are filling them up, and I'm sure there was a lot of people there, but I don't think I think the longest line we would have seen maybe tops 5 hours. Maybe. That's kind of my max seeing it go. So I don't see why doing that. And then also, but then at the same time, having a 2.5 hour line almost. It just doesn't, I would rather be insured my ride.
You seem like you want to argue in both directions at the same time.
I wasn't really planning on having this confrontation at all. I was just going to say I was going to say the system isn't great, and then we were going to move on. But you're like digging deep into this, like the logistics of this whole thing. But
we're officially in stalemate.
Yeah, all right. We have that's like tic-tac-toe. We had the cat. Yeah, I don't know. The system wasn't great in my opinion. The end. In other news, though, Universal was great. It was like I said, one of my favorite parks. I mean, all the dark rides there are really fantastic. It's really crazy how like each dark ride immerses you and has this great theming. Every queue is well done. I really just, it's like Verbolten, but on acid. Like everything is like Verbolten. So it just, and to another degree, because you have like, you have hundreds of millions of dollars being poured into all these rides, which, Verbolten didn't get that necessarily. It got some really good theming, but it's just even that, like everything at Universal is like a step up still. It's just crazy. So yeah, that was a great park. There's 2 stories from Universal that I'll share. And one of them is one that you've kind of heard a little bit about. And that was the fact that Pam, while in line for, I believe, Jurassic Park, the water ride, the flume ride there, or it's not actually a flume ride, it has like the 4-across seating. It's a little bit larger scale than the flume. So I believe it might be an Intamin. But regardless, she was in line for that, and I guess there was like a family in front of her. I think that's how it went down. And those people were trying to get in front of her. 2 teenagers were trying to get in front of her to get with their family, and she was not having it. Pretty much the whole trip, there was a lot of line cutters, and Pam does not take kindly to line cutters. And she was basically giving this girl, I think, a little bit of like, come on, what's going on kind of thing. And the girl, I think, threatened to like beat her ass pretty much. And like, she was like 12 years old, and this girl's like cussing out Pam. And Pam's like, no, I'm not having this. Pam was like ready to square up with this little 12-year-old girl that was cussing at her. And it was pretty great. That's what I heard. And it was pretty funny. And apparently the mom afterwards came up and was like, no, you don't talk to adults like that. And Pam was afraid that the mom might like try to fight her. So, but that didn't happen. The mom was disciplining her child.
I could just picture all this playing out with Pam, because I've seen Pam get pretty enraged.
Yeah.
To the point where I just want to sneak away and say I don't know her.
Trust me and Timmy felt the exact same way. There were some points where we're like, oh God, she's in her mode there. And she's like, that's like something for her, about her. Like the line cutting just snaps her, it triggers her. She does not like line cutting.
It gets me too, like really badly.
I get annoyed for sure. Me and Timmy both.
There's a certain point where I'm done pushing, because the more I push, the more uncomfortable this is going to be for everybody, and I'm going to end up hating the ride and even more. Like I mean, I've said some stuff to people that have cut in line, especially on days when it got really bad. Like Maverick is a ride that always, like, I get so irritated because people seem to always line cut on Maverick, and it always irritates me. But like, I've said something, and then it's like they want to push back. It's like, whatever, like, done, whatever. I don't want to pursue it anymore. But Pam digs in. And my sister is exactly the same way too. Maybe it's a teacher thing. I don't know.
Maybe
But
it is.
my sister does it so like my sister starts scaring me sometimes.
I know. I'm like,
And I
it
mean,
literally
it's
does
not
seem like they're gonna get in a fight. Like this is
it's
going to be the next
it
news report. 50-year-old woman beats the crap out of a 12-year-old girl at amusement park for trying to get with her family.
uh, uh,
Oh man, I just yeah, I don't like line cutting either, and I've definitely said things before, but Pam just takes it to another tier, another level of like craziness. I mean, she's how come on, you can't lie, like yelling at him, like oh my god, it's just oh.
but hey, Pam, we still love you.
you just
Don't start
make us nervous.
don't we don't want to be on that other side, so don't
Yeah.
start
Oh,
yelling at
I've
us.
been there. We were there. Me and Timmy actually crossed a boundary once, but
Oh boy.
that's an off topic, off podcast story. I don't know if I want to share that on here. But let's get to the other story, the story that we haven't told you yet. And I don't know, I feel like I've built this up a little too. I mean, it was really crazy, but I don't know. In retrospect, you might not see it as crazy as it was to be there. So me and Timmy both have our cameras, and that's what we do. Me and Timmy, he takes photos, I do videos and some photos, but we take all our gear into the parks. We spend a couple hours in the parks taking photos and videos. And
well aware.
I'm informing the audience because the audience might not be aware. I'm setting the scene.
Them of how bad it is. Like
You're informing them that you are already informed. But we were obviously at Universal, and we were doing that. We were taking photos, doing videos, and we're coming back from the park with our video gear and our camera gear, and going back to the car to put it down so we can go ride the rest of the day. And luckily enough, I guess I was like, you know what? I've been carrying this around the parks, Universal, to get one from one of the parks to the parking garage is like a 3-mile hike. It's crazy. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna sit in the car for like 5 minutes. Let's turn the AC on. Let's just chill out for 5 minutes, and then we'll go back to the park and we'll go crazy and ride all this stuff. And Timmy's like, thank God you said that. I really need to sit down too. So we're sitting down, and Timmy out of the corner of his eye sees a guy trying to go into a car. Just get into a car, and we're like, all right, he's just getting into his car, whatever. Nothing out of the ordinary. I guess he just saw him out of the corner of his eye there doing that. But then it seemed strange because he went to the next car next to it, and we're like, oh, he figured where his car was. They weren't similar cars at all, and I'm like, seems sketchy. Then he goes to the next car, and the next car, and the next car, and the next car, and it's like 6 or 7 cars, and he finally gets into one, and he's just sitting there without the lights on. He hasn't turned the car on. You'd think it was like 90 degrees. You'd have the AC on pronto when you got in that car. You'd have the car on and get the AC blast, and nothing. And I'm like, this guy is breaking into cars and stealing stuff from the cars. And so I'm like, I guess we call 911. I don't know. We call the police, I guess. And we did. And as soon as we did that, as soon as we hung up, or not actually we hung up, we were on the phone with 911 for a while actually. But as soon as we initiated the call, the guy got out of the car with like a jacket and like a Yeti cup, and presumes to walk back into one of the cars that he already tried to get into, I'm pretty sure. But for some reason now he has the keys to that car, so I guess that might have been his car, but I don't know what the point of him trying to get into his own car was. But he gets back into that car and pulls out and drives away. And we're like, oh my gosh, the guy just drove away. Like, what should we do? And they're like, we'll get him. And apparently the cops come, we talk to him, and all this, the security team comes, all this happens. And apparently the guy was in fact breaking into cars. They had footage of him in other sectors of the parking lot. But apparently he was also, I believe, either a ticket holder at least, but I think he might have been a pass holder. And he had gone to the park earlier that day. So they had him on camera going into the park. And they had like his information and stuff because I'm pretty sure, a pass holder. And they're like, this guy, it was hilarious, and it was crazy. But I was like, what idiot goes into the park that they're about to like go into the parking lot? Like, that's the dumbest thing. That's like going into the store that you're about to run. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that he would do that.
There's a whole lot of dumb criminals.
But yeah, he I don't know if they got him or not. We don't know. We had to write witness statements. It took about an hour and a half to do so, and we actually had the head of security come out and like she was like, "Oh, thank you guys for spending your time," and she gave us I think like 20 quick queue or fast pass is what they call it there. I don't know if what they call it there. I think it's like express pass. I think that's what they call it. And we got like free
Nice.
meals and all this. Yeah, it was really awesome. And it was really like luck. I could have just said, "Nah, let's just go back into the park," and this guy would have been completely off our radar. We would have just gone back in. He could have, and it was Pam's car too. So Pam would have been disappointed because I don't know if he probably would have tried to get into her car too. But we protected Ruby, that's the name of her car. That's what she calls it. So
Yeah.
she was giving us grief all week about we can't drive her car because we don't care for Ruby and stuff. And we're like, we just saved her from a burglary, so suck that. Like we were like giving her it was pretty great. Yeah, it was. Timmy's in the chat. Yeah, the head of security's name was Laura, and and yeah, it was really an interesting experience. It was crazy at the time. I mean, we literally thought the guy was gonna see us in the car, so we started like crouching back in our seats. We're like, if he sees us, like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna think we're just not noticing him, or is he gonna see that we're being pretty observant? And because he was looking around too, and I'm like, how does he not see us? We're like right in front of him. Like he's looking around, and I'm like, I don't get
Maybe
this.
he thought you were doing the same thing.
Maybe he thought we're breaking into. Yeah. Hey, what's up? Are you also stealing? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Did you also go in the park earlier? Yeah, I love the park. A lot of fun. But yeah, it was crazy. It was a really crazy experience, to say the least. It was quite unique. I'd never really expected anything of that nature to ever happen at a park at all. So, and especially at Universal, like it just seems like, especially it's a large parking garage. It was like the top floor. I'm like, this is the worst possible place to try to steal stuff. Like it's really hard to get away because you have to go down this huge ramp, and it's like, I was like, this is like the worst place.
Could you see a police chase in a parking garage?
Exactly. I was like, what is this guy thinking? Like, why wouldn't he choose the lowest level, go to the lowest possible place where you can just zip out of the exit? Like, why are you going to be, I don't know. It was just odd. It was an odd criminal. Yeah. So
Maybe he just assumes that it's a dumb idea, so that's the last place people will look.
true. And I mean, there was no one else up there. I mean, everyone else, no one's going to walk all the way back up to their car. They're going to stay at the park. There's nothing else really other than bringing gear back to your car. There's no other reason that anyone else would be up there unless they're leaving. And it was like the middle of the day, so I think he assumed that most people aren't going to be making that trek back up to the top floor. But still, I was shocked that I was shocked that he chose that still. But yeah, that was the story. It was quite crazy. I kid you not, Pam was asleep in a movie theater when that happened. When we were like texting her, and I'm like, Pam, we could have gotten shot and died or something. Like this criminal could have tried to be killing us, and you're taking a snooze in a movie theater. It was pretty great. So we're like, Pam, Ruby's gonna get burglarized, and she's like conked out in a movie theater. But that is the Universal extravaganza. I loved the park. It was a lot of fun, but that was a story that I'll never forget. That's a story that like I'll be going back to for my life, and I'll never forget that.
That is very, very entertaining. So you guys went to both Universal parks, right?
Correct,
Universal
yeah.
and
Studio
Adventure.
and Islands of Adventure, yeah.
What rides do they still have at Studios? Do they still have Back to the Future?
No, they do not.
I didn't think so.
They have ET still.
ET is still there?
Yep, and I don't know if Men in Black, if you rode that when you went.
No, that wasn't a thing.
That was 2006, I think, or 2005 that opened.
Yeah, I was there in 99.
All right, yeah, so ET is still there. Jaws is gone, sadly. I would have loved to ridden that. That was my thing, but
I recall Jaws. Earthquake?
no, Jaws was there.
It was Earth. Well, we didn't ride it then. Was Earthquake there? Probably not.
No, that was not there.
Did you ride ET?
We did. Yeah, ET was very cool. I don't like it though. I don't like the ending because it kind of takes away from the movie. I think because the movie's like To me, it's kind of like I hope I'm not spoiling the ride for any people, but most people have probably seen it or experienced. It's been open since the '80s, so I'm gonna a little bit spoil it. The ending of the ride like shows ET's home planet. I'm like, well, we didn't know that. Like that was part of like kind of the cool aspect of the movie is like you don't know what his home planet's like. He's trying to go home, and I just felt like that was part of the interesting thing. And I didn't really like that ending where it was like all this weird alien planet stuff. I just didn't dig it, but I loved the first half of ET. It was really cool. I love like flying over the city and stuff. I thought that was interesting.
I remember it was such an like. Do they still say? Does he still say your name at the end?
No, I not that I remember.
Oh, really? So when we were there,
Maybe I don't know.
your vehicle, like everybody in your vehicle, as you're coming in, ET actually says like "Welcome home" and says everybody's name that's actually on that vehicle.
Gotcha.
And it actually was like it really shocked us at first, and it was I mean it was clear how they did it. So when you boarded, you had to have a passport. It was this little card they gave you, and you actually had to tell somebody your name. But I remember like
Okay, yeah, that makes
you
sense.
didn't actually like connect that that's what actually was going on. And I mean, you did this like way before you got on the ride. So like you totally don't remember that even occurred, right? You just know that you have your passport and this is what you have to give them to board. But what they do is like whenever they gave you the passport, I think that's what they called it, passport. I don't know. They
Yeah,
put your
whatever.
name in, and
Whatever
then
it
whenever
was.
you boarded the ride vehicle, the ride operator just took all the passports and scanned it into the computer so that the ride system knew who was on that vehicle.
Yeah, and Timmy in the chat makes a
Really?
good point because it probably has something to do with COVID why they weren't doing passports.
Oh, that I mean, that could be. It could also be that they just got tired of dealing with it.
Yeah, it could be that it's just something
I
they
mean,
were like,
that was over 20 years ago, so
it would make sense
the
if some things have
novelty
changed. Yeah.
worn out by now.
But I really I
But I
thought the
do
ride was really
remember
cool, and I thought for being an '80s ride, like it was really really well done. I just
was it really was it
I'm
the
pretty
80s, right?
pretty sure it was built in 19. I think I looked when we were there. Maybe it was 90s, but maybe it was 90s. But I'm pretty sure I looked.
See that built in the 80s.
I think it was like 87. I think that's when it was built, if I remember correctly. If I remember seeing that correctly when I looked it up.
Opening date June 7th, 1990.
1990. All right.
Oh,
Something
wait,
opened.
no. Yeah.
Something opened
So
in the 80s that we looked up when I was there. Maybe it was Jaws. I don't know. I
I
can't recall now.
I can't believe they still have that, but they removed Back to the Future. That was like Back to the Future was
Actually,
the
now that I think
ride.
about it, I think the park actually opened in 1990, so that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, we opened the ride 3 years before it opened. I'm pretty sure that's when the park opened. But
It opened June 7th, 1990.
okay, all right. Well, then maybe I mistook 80s for 1990. Then maybe I thought 87. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I remember it being. I was like, wow, that's an old ride. But for being that old of an attraction, it was really well done. I just didn't like that, and it was just based on it wasn't actually a ride experience. It was just the story at the end, because I feel like it's kind of left up to your interpretation as an audience member of ET to kind of imagine his home world and to imagine what's like on the spaceship and stuff, because you never really get to see that. You just see him come off of it, and you don't really get to see any other of the aliens either. Like, I just thought that was always like the cool thing about it, like a mysterious thing about that movie. I don't know, I just didn't like it.
It's like the special tour, like it's the adventure, like that's part of the adventure of the ride.
I don't like it. I'm sorry. That's my opinion.
I'm still just like I can't believe they got rid of Back to the Future. I mean, that was hands down, that was the best experience I had in Universal Studios back then.
Well, I think you need to revisit, because they definitely have some great rides now. I don't know if
No, I don't doubt that, but what I'm saying is
yeah,
that's
I'm sure.
pretty spectacular ride for them to get rid of. Did it? Oh, that was Minion Mayhem.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
that's what it was. They turned
Minion Mayhem's pretty fun. Was Back to the Future a stationary ride, like where you sit in a theater, like Like Minion Mayhem is kind of.
Simulator ride. Very, very good simulator ride.
All right.
It was like it literally. Oh well, I would assume it's the same exact.
Yeah.
I would assume they just reused the system. I don't know. That's an interesting question.
I'm I'm trying to see where it was. It actually was not replaced by Minions. It was replaced by Simpsons. The Simpsons ride, as well.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I was reading the wrong one. That was Japan. The Japan ride became Despicable Me Minion Mayhem.
All right. Yeah.
So
if it was it a. Let me see. Let me just look real quick. I actually didn't get to do Simpsons ride either, so I don't actually. All I know is Despicable Me is a ride where you're sitting in like almost like a theater arrangement, and you have like the moving. You have like moving seats and stuff, but it's definitely not a ride where you're like moving around like on a track or even Trackless Dark Ride. It's nothing like that. So I was wondering if that's.
The future was not. You were not on the track. You were in. It was more advanced than any of the simulator rides around here, but you didn't go anywhere. You moved pretty good, like side to side, forward, and stuff like that, but you physically didn't leave the same spot.
Gotcha. All right, that makes sense.
So is it Simpsons? It doesn't actually say.
Doesn't say.
What, like it says it was closed for good on March 30th, 2007, and it said it would be replaced by either the Simpsons TV series or the Fast and Furious film franchise. But then, this is Wikipedia, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. A new attraction based on the animated sitcom The Simpsons, known officially as the Simpsons Ride, replaced the ride.
And I wanted to try that, but that was one of the only rides that I can say that, like one of the big rides we didn't get on while we were there. We got on Cat in the Hat, and I had heard really weird, like people didn't like that, but I thought it was pretty good. It's a kid dark ride, but it was pretty long, and I thought it basically just does the whole book. So the people that were saying, "Oh, this is a weird ride," I think were saying it because they probably haven't read the book. So if you've read the book, The Cat in the Hat, you're probably pretty well attuned to what you're going to experience in this ride.
So it was the same. Yes, it was the Intamin IMAX Dome motion simulator.
All right, so
it was
future. All right,
and then the redo. It was manufactured by Intamin, but Oceaneering International did some of the transition
for sure.
But so it is basically the same ride system, I would assume. Omnimax isn't a thing anymore, so they would have had to change that to IMAX.
Yeah. Well, again, I like the Cat in the Hat ride.
So
I'm trying to.
How much you want to ride Back to the Future? You should have rode The Simpsons because that's what it was. Just saying.
Timmy, that's the one ride that I think he was like, I don't really know if I want to ride. That's kind of funny. Did you get to ride Mummy? I think that opened. I can't remember when that opened. That opened in 2003, so I think, or 2004. So you probably didn't get to ride, but Mummy was really good. That's a really fun ride. I didn't think it was excellent, like some people have said, but it was good. It was really fun. I have to say, and of course, pretty much anyone that's been to Universal now in the past 5-6 years since they opened it, the Harry Potter Wizarding World is absolutely amazing. It is so good. Have you seen the movies? The Harry Potter movies?
No.
Really? All right. Well, yeah, you got to watch this before you go to truly understand why that area. Because you're gonna go and go, it's all right. It's a pretty good area, but like to truly understand how like piece for piece they have recreated this movie set is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could get into Harry Potter. It's just not. I don't know.
I don't know. I love them.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I love them. But Harry Potter area is fantastic. The rides, Gringotts is amazing. Then you go over to the Islands of Adventure side of things, and you got Forbidden Journey, which is really, really, really good. Man, it was really incredible how fantastic they did the areas there. There were some other great rides. The Jurassic Park ride was pretty fun. The King Kong ride really disappointed me and Timmy because like when you walk up to it, it's like this huge, very ominous and dark tower, and it looks like, oh, this is going to be crazy or cool, and it just really wasn't that awesome. It was all right. But it definitely looks really intense and crazy when you're walking up to it because it's this huge mountain, and it's called Kong Skull Island, and it really just, and they have all this like tribal music playing, and it just sounds like, oh, we're getting in for something crazy, and it just wasn't all that, but it was fun. I really liked the Transformers ride at Studios. That was good. But yeah, I really liked both the parks, and man, City Walk was really cool too. I don't really like the fact that you have to walk through City Walk to get to the parks, but City Walk was really interesting. I really liked that area of the park.
Yeah, that's kind of what walk means, right? No.
Yeah, it is in a sense, but I don't really like that. It's like it's like you're forced to do it, you know. But I understand it. I get why they do it, but I just don't necessarily like. I would love to have just the option to go through it sometimes if I wanted to, but also it is a bit fun to do it. But it's just when you've been at the park for 10 hours and you need to walk 2 miles, 3 miles back to your car, that's when you start hating City Walk.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
That's when you're like, all right, I love it, but we gotta. Can we fast forward this, please? Yeah. So that's just Universal. Went to SeaWorld as well. SeaWorld was excellent. I don't know if there's any stories to tell from. Oh, there was a ride op that was rather rude, and I'm sure Timmy would be upset if I didn't mention it. So we were riding, and there was two Coast Enthusiasts ride ops. They were two girls, and they were probably about 20 or 30, I don't know, but they were working the ride. But then there's this guy that was up in the actual rider operating booth, and we went up to ride, and I was actually by myself for this one ride because Timmy had gone to the bathroom, and he was in the booth, but then he's come back down after we'd ridden earlier in the day, and now he was checking restraints, and he was like, when we were riding Mako, and he was like, you have to have the restraints touch your legs. That's a policy. And I'm like, all right, cool, great, whatever. Like, I wasn't really thrilled with it. I think I did. Once he walked away, I was like, no, you don't, but all right. Because we rode earlier, and that was not at all, like, he just made it up all of a sudden that had to be the policy. But I'm like, all right, whatever. And then we come back, Timmy comes back, and we come back together, and he gets in line, and he had, I guess I didn't mention to him that this ride op was enforcing that kind of strict rule there. And he was back in the booth now. And so he goes over the intercom, row 6, if that restraint does not touch your legs, this train will not move. Again, like, yeah, and the Coast Enthusiast ride ops are like, oh my god, that's not. Like, they're like, sorry, we gotta do it. Sorry, we gotta do it. But so they had to like push it down on Timmy, but it was pretty comical. They like Timmy just got called out completely on the ride. He was like, we're not running this ride until you have your restraint on your legs, and like he's yelling at Timmy. Timmy's like, I'm sorry. It was pretty funny. But that's all that really occurred at SeaWorld. Any major story really that I can think of. Those ride ops are really cool. They said that one of them actually apologized for that guy and said she gave us 3. I can't remember what they're called. I think like 3 like cut the line passes, or maybe not cut the line passes, but it was 3 re-ride passes. That's what it was. You get to re-ride, which is a perk we already have with our season pass, but because of COVID, they're saying they can't do the re-ride pass. So she's like, just use this next time you're ever at the park or whatever. So she was like, I'm sorry, I'll give you these 3 re-ride passes. That guy's being kind of a jerk. And I'm like, all right, thanks. They saw I was wearing actually the shirt I'm wearing now, the Knoble shirt, and they were like, awesome. And then Timmy was wearing a Lightning Rod shirt, and they were like, awesome. So that was really cool. So SeaWorld Orlando was a good park. I liked Mako. I thought it was good. Manta was really fun. really everything there's Kraken was good too. We even got on the can't remember what they call their kiddie coaster. Is it the Soapbox Derby ride? I think that's their coaster there. That's their kiddie coaster. That was okay. That was just a clone of the actual Grover's Alpine Express, I believe. Or if not, actually no, it wasn't. That's a lie. The Tampa one is a clone. This one is actually one of those. It's the one. Once I say, what is it? The Great Adventure has this as well. I think it's actually what we talked about earlier. Harley Quinn's Crazy Train with like the really long trains. That's what this was actually. It was like a 13 or 14 row train.
Yeah, it's zero. No, well, that is Zero Tivoli. That is what Grover's Alpine Express is.
Is it?
Yep.
Well, those don't have the long rows like.
I mean, they just don't have long train. I mean, it's a shorter coaster, so.
Right. Well, it was about the same length, but
you'd be chasing its tail.
Yeah, true. But it was about this. It wasn't that much longer than the Williamsburg version. It wasn't as long as the Harley Quinn Spinternity, I don't think, or the Crazy Train was. But yeah, that was cool to see. I was like the first kiddie coaster I walked up to, and it was like 15 rows. I'm like, wow, all right, we'll do it. And we sat in the back, and of course the back was really good. So that was SeaWorld Orlando. We saw Icebreaker. Busch Gardens Tampa was.
Oh, actually, I'm mistaken. Super Grover's Boxcar Derby is a Zero Force.
All right, yeah, it didn't
really
feel like they
what
were the same. I didn't feel like the exact. I was like, I don't know, but because I think the trains are a little bit different. If that makes sense, like I don't.
Really, it really looks like the same thing. It really seriously looks exactly like a Tivoli.
I don't know. I'm not I wouldn't call myself an expert in the field of Zaire kiddie coasters, but I don't know. I thought.
Oh wait, apparently Grover's Alpine Express is a Zero Force. I thought they were Tivolis. But Harley Quinn. If I'm wrong about this, I'm gonna be really sad. But I'm pretty sure it is a Tivoli.
All right. All right.
But seriously, I don't really. I guess the track is a little bit different. The Tivoli's more of a box track. Yeah, it has beams, and the Force actually has tubular track.
All right.
Other than that, they're like pretty identical, it seems.
Interesting. There's your you didn't know, you know now fact from Bob for this show. But yes, SeaWorld Orlando is a good little park. I actually enjoyed it better than Busch Gardens Tampa, which I'm sure a lot of people will be shocked by. Busch Gardens Tampa was a really good park. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was as fantastic as people claim it to be. It's a good park, but it's just not. I don't think it's on par with Williamsburg. I don't think it's up there as like one of the best parks in the world, and it's good, but it's just not. I don't know. It's just not the top park for me. I thought there was some good theming. I thought the rides were good. Kumba was really good. That's probably my favorite ride there. Montu was good. Cheetah Hunt really left me wanting more, and I was sad about that.
Really?
Because I wanted. Yeah, and so many people love that ride too and say it's really good. And it was good.
But it was
really good. And yeah, I know it was good, but it just wasn't. It wasn't fantastic like I was expecting it to be. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just my take, though. I know a lot of people that do like it, and I mean, I even rode it with Timmy, who I think before actually liked it more than he did after we rode it. So maybe it was just running bad that day. I don't know, but it just wasn't anything fantastic. Yeah, so that was Busch Gardens Tampa. It was also really crowded, so that might have added to it. But it was crowded at all the parks, and I just enjoyed the other. Like SeaWorld Orlando was really crowded as well, and I don't think that was the factor that made me not like Tampa as much. I just don't know what it was. I just didn't feel I just didn't feel it. It was a good park. It was really good, but it just wasn't that great. You know, there's that barrier there, good and great, and it didn't surpass that level for me. One thing I do have to complain about and rant about is that they were closing restaurants, and they did this at SeaWorld Orlando too. Actually, no, they didn't do it in the same aspect. I'll get back to SeaWorld Orlando in a sec. But Busch Gardens Tampa was closing pretty much all the restaurants towards the back of the park that we could find at 6:30 when the park closed at 8. So they were closing all restaurants an hour and a half early, which was absurd to pretty much everyone. I mean, there were so many people trying to get in line for the restaurants and, you know, just to get water. And they're like, nope, sorry, we're closed. Sorry, we're closed. Sorry. And I was like, how do you close a restaurant an hour and a half? Like multiple too. I'm not just saying one. I'm not just saying two. It was like multiple food stands. And then we went to an actual barbecue place and they were like, we could not find a restaurant that was open. It was crazy. And I don't know. That was really infuriating for everyone that was on the trip with us.
So I've actually heard a lot of people saying that about Busch Gardens Williamsburg right now too. They've
so
kind of been
maybe it is a SeaWorld thing. I can't say I can know about SeaWorld Orlando because I don't think we ever stayed that late to actually experience that policy being in place at that park. But what happened at SeaWorld Orlando was that I was there in the morning and I was expecting to be able to eat because we didn't eat breakfast that morning. And I'm like, oh, I'll just eat at the park. And we could not find a food stand. And, you know, I'm like, maybe I'll give them 30 minutes to open up everything. But they're like, yeah, sorry, we open up at 10, but the actual restaurants don't open up till 11:30. And I'm like, how do you open a restaurant? How do you, any of the restaurants in the park not open till 11:30? That was crazy to me. So we ended up finding some random snack venue that happened to be open. And you had to eat popcorn for breakfast.
Do that. The one restaurant in front of, like kind of in front of Flight of Fear, I don't think that opens at noon.
No, I'm not saying that there can't be like one or two restaurants that don't do that, especially if they demand more like employees and stuff and you want to wait until 12 to open them. I'm saying none of the restaurants in the whole park opened until that time, it seemed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because we asked an employee and he's like, yeah, that they don't open until 11:30. And I'm like, hold up, wait. So we some random snack venue ended up being open. I don't know if that was, maybe he just didn't interpret that as a restaurant or what, but so we had to have popcorn for breakfast. And I was like, all right, whatever.
When did the park open?
This will do. It opened at 10.
I mean, maybe they just figure everybody gets food coming in because they don't want to spend the money. I don't know. That's interesting though.
I just thought that was awkward and strange, and I wasn't as mad about that as I was closing the restaurants an hour and a half early. That was where I was like, come on, really? I mean, I need water. I want water. Come on, please. Like, I'm not asking for much here. Yeah, and it was that was my SeaWorld complaints for the show. Other than that, SeaWorld, I thought that both parks are really good. Again, SeaWorld Orlando actually exceeded expectations. It's one of my favorite parks, and Tampa was just all right. So
interesting.
Yep. And that about does it. Actually, we went to Fun Spots. We went to the Fun Spot parks. They were really good. White Lightning was good. Mind Blower, man, was fantastic. Oh my gosh, so good. I mean, I honestly am Gravity Group is slowly making its way up to my top list. Not like my top manufacturer on my list. Like they're up there now. Like they've always been, you know, top 5, maybe top 4, and now they're like, they might be 2.
After Ravine Flyer 2, that sold me. I mean, I had already had Road Voyage, and then wait a minute. Yeah. Yeah, I rode Voyage. I was like, wait, which one did I ride? But yeah, like
I thought about your question of Ravine Flyer 2 as a Gravity Group. I was like, no, you're right. No.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, I just couldn't. I was for some reason my mind was blank on like which one I rode first. But yeah, Voyage was first. But then after I rode Ravine Flyer 2, I was like, man, Gravity Group just they know where it's at.
And it's strange. The only one I haven't liked is Kentucky Flyer. Like Kentucky Flyer was all right, but I didn't. I mean, obviously it's a family coaster, but it just people were just saying like, oh my god, Kentucky Flyer, this is the best, one of the best rides. Like it was crazy. It has ejector. It was awesome. It's one of the best rides of Kentucky Kingdom. And then when we went, it was like, it was fun. It was a good family ride, but it just didn't do it for me. So I'm like, oh, maybe Maybe I'm just not a gravity group guy or something. I don't know. I love Voyage, but this just doesn't do it for me. And then I went to Switchback as EDTs, and I'm like, that was great. Now I've ridden Mind Blower. That was great. Like, yeah, I'm back on the gravity group. I know they're great. I just maybe I honestly got a bad ride on Flyer. I mean, I'll try again for sure when we go back. But yeah, Mind
I don't
Blower,
know.
man. Mind Blower was
I like
crazy. I
Flyer.
cannot. I mean, really, really good. Pam thought it was too rough. Yeah, it gave her a headache, and it wasn't. I honestly didn't think it was that rough at all. Me and Timmy both. I mean, we marathoned it a couple of times. Like we got, I think, 10 rides in a row. Like, but what you had to do is you had to actually walk around, but there was like no one there, so we just got on and got on and got on and got on and got on. So it was really, really crazy. I really liked it. It was the sleeper hit of Florida. I say it might be my favorite coaster in Florida. Like that's how good
I've
it
heard
is.
people say so many good things about it.
Yeah, it was really. White Lightning was really good as well, but that just Mind Blower just great. All right. Well, yeah, that about does it for the Florida trip. I think we knocked out every park. I don't know if we've told every story, but there'll be more times to share stories to come. If I didn't hit them all tonight, it was a lot of fun. It was a good trip. We might be returning in June, and Bob will be at New Jersey, so we'll both be at on a big roller coaster excursion when that takes place. But yeah, that was a great trip.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to New Jersey now that it looks like I'm going to be going.
Mm-hmm. I'm
I haven't
excited
been to.
I'm really excited to finally hear your thoughts on El Toro.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally ride El Toro. Plus, I also am excited to finally find out for sure if King to Ka really is worse than Top Thrill Dragster.
Yeah, I don't. I think it is, but it's just because of those. And it probably actually you probably won't like it actually because it has those over the shoulder restraints that.
Yeah, but that does. I mean,
That's what most people say is the only really worst part.
too.
What?
Stormrunner has those.
Oh,
as
I think
well.
the Top Thrill Dragster does. Yeah, Stormrunner has those. They changed it to like the i305 ones that the i305 has now. Didn't they? Like they have the cloth ones now, kind of. I don't think they have the hard shell anymore.
No, I'm pretty sure they were still the same.
I don't know. I haven't ridden it since 2017, but I'm pretty sure they were
don't,
soft.
like, Intamins are like a really like it's like a thinner tubular steel.
Yeah,
that
they have the cloth ones. It looks like.
Do they?
Yeah, at least from this. Yeah, the new soft restraints on Stormrunner. There's a tweet from Hershey from 2016 when they introduced them. But yeah, so I thought so. I was like, I don't remember that, but I don't. I'm not a fan of those Intamin over the hard, like the hard over the shoulder restraints.
Yeah, Intamins haven't been. I mean, well, Maverick has those.
Maverick had those as well and got that replaced as well.
Okay, well, I rode Maverick with.
Yeah, I rode i305 with the harder over the shoulder ones as well.
Actually, I did too. I actually, it was only like one time, but I did as well. And those never really did bug me the same way that like Aero and B&Ms do.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I just
like the strap or like vest type ones.
Yeah, Cheetah Hunt also has those hard over the shoulder ones. That might be why I didn't like it as much. I mean, it doesn't negatively affect my ride, but it's not as comfortable to me. It's not like you where it's like the B&M over the shoulders kind of like almost ruin the ride sometimes. It's definitely not to that severity for me, but it's just an uncomfortable experience, and that's why most people I've heard say King to Ka is not as good. Like it's just that small, like you feel more free on top of the dragster because you don't have that like over the shoulder hard. So that's literally what many people to me complain about, or I've seen to me complain about. I don't know if there's other complaints about the ride. I know my mom actually when she rode it, for the first time ever had like. I don't know I think she just like felt really bad. Like she got like a migraine or something, which I've never like. She doesn't get migraines a lot. She's not someone that gets headaches a lot. She got like a migraine on that ride because it was so. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was about it. But she was like, it was crazy. She was like, oh my god, I can't ride that ever again. It was like, yeah, like it was. It took her for a doozy.
rough. And I know like that's kind of how I get like if there's a really bad an actual bad rattle on a coaster, it will give me a headache.
See, okay, well, if it's the roughness, I think many people I've known, and I didn't take their advice, say ride in the front because the front's where it's the most smooth, and like the middle and to the back are really like where it gets really shaky and rattly, and that might be why she got such a bad experience. I personally didn't. I mean, I didn't personally. I noticed that there was a little bit of shakiness, but it wasn't like to that point where I was
Yeah,
like crazy. But
like
to
you
me,
feel the same way with I-305.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I-305, I cannot marathon I-305 in the back because there is a rattle that gives me a headache. It's just like that right frequency that just it. I mean, I like riding it in the back, and I will ride it once or twice in the back. But put me in the front, and I'll marathon it for an hour, no problem. But like that's just where the further back you go on I-305, the more prone to giving me a headache it is.
Sure, yeah. And again, my
So
mom
it
is not one of those people that gets migraines a lot. Like I've never seen that happen. She doesn't get like it's not like it happens when she's at home just randomly. Like some people have migraine attacks where they just come a lot or they have migraine. Like this is like an isolated case. One of the first times I've seen her have a migraine on any ever, and especially on a roller coaster, I've never seen it happen. So I was shocked to see that because she liked Top Thrill Dragster too. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's that rattle. I didn't notice it as much, but she definitely did seem to have an issue with it. And again, the over-the-shoulder restraints also. So I am curious to see what you think of King Ka, El Toro. Really curious to see what you think of Nitro too, because me and Timmy and Daniel always kind of give it a little bit of crap. But I'm curious to see if you're going to ride it and be like, this is the greatest ride of all time. This is my new number one.
It'll be up there with T3.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be up there with T3 and it'll be up there with like Merlin's Mayhem. I'll be like, oh, this is my new favorite ride of all time.
Merlin's Mayhems is a legit fun coaster, though.
Hey, well, maybe you think Nitro will be too. Maybe it will be. We'll see. All right, well, that about does it for this episode of Coaster Talk. We've gone quite a long while. I swear we record for, an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, but somehow we spend the recording time that we've actually spent recording this has been about what? I think 4 or 5 hours. So, I mean, yeah. We do some crazy things for you guys. We love you guys. I'm just kidding. We really probably should just be more efficient. The weekly poll for this week before we close out the show will be back to if you can remember, all the way back an hour ago when we were talking about the Coaster Power Hours at Six Flags Great Adventure, we kind of discussed what rides we'd like to marathon. And so we thought we'd pose the question to you guys, what is your favorite roller coaster to marathon? It can be any, and it doesn't have to be your favorite. Don't think about it in that sense, because some of our favorites, like we said, can't always be marathoned, or aren't the best in marathon. Again, Grizzly Kings Dominion, probably my favorite ride in marathon at the park, even though it's not my favorite ride at the park. So you don't have to think about it in the straightforward sense of what's your favorite coaster. Think about what ride you think you'd have the most fun marathoning.
Yeah, a coaster that you could sit on for 2 hours straight and enjoy it clear till the end.
Exactly, yeah. And that, again, does it for this show. So we'll see you guys all on next week's. Really quickly, I'm going to plug in the social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at Coaster Talk Pod. YouTube is at Coaster Talk Pod. And you can contact us, coastertalkpodcast.com/contact, or email us, james@coastertalkpodcast.com or bob@coastertalkpodcast.com. I'll plug in the shop as well. If you want to buy any of our merchandise and represent us at the parks, it'd be awesome. coastertalkpodcast.com/shop is where you can do it. And then we'll see you guys all on next week's show. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us and listening.
So what was the deal with the bucket list coasters not doing it?
Wow. We're not doing it. Nope.
Okay.
I just completely went over it.
It sounded like you were completely going to skip the poll altogether. That's why I said that. And then all of a sudden you're like,
man, Bob, fuck. I am so tired. I just went over that completely. I was like, yes, we're done. 1 a.m. I'm going to get some sleep. And oh, God.
Post the results on social media.
No, I'm gonna do it. Sure.
How are we gonna?
And again, my mom is not one of those people that gets migraines a lot. Like I've never seen that.
Oh, I don't. Why don't you just edit it in yourself, wherever you feel suits it?
You're gonna have to. You're not gonna talk during the poll at all.
I'm tired.
We'll see. Bob, I just skipped the entire segment of the show. All right, well, that about does it for this episode. Hey, well, maybe you think Nitro will be too. Maybe it will be. All right, so.
Or yeah, we'll just answer 2 next week.
No. It was at 1:52:59. We'll make it really quick.
I don't know where. What were you saying? Like, I don't know if our time is exactly. I was saying,
hey, well, maybe you think Nitro will be. Well, maybe you'll think Nitro will be great too.
Yeah, I was still talking about the oh wait, 152. This is too much work, man.
Bob, killing me.
You're killing me. We have a script written for a reason. Damn it.
That you didn't like scripts. What's happening? Where's the code?
I don't see a code. All right, was that before or after I said Merlin's Mayhem is a legit fun coaster? Oh, that was wait.
You said something after. I said maybe Nitro will be that ride too. So I think I was right about that time.
So keep me saying that.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna have to remember that to resync this part.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Because I'm gonna cut at 1:53:10. You're sure we're cutting this?
I'm sure. You didn't say anything after that anyways that much, so.
Yeah, I did. Well, I don't know. There's stuff I said.
All right, well, we'll just redo it. It's all right.
The next week poll too, then, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. All right.
Just restart everything. I love you so much, Bob. I love
you. This stupid poll, man, it gives me heartache all the time in one way or another.
You love them.
How are we doing? Well, you say something and I'll jump in. I'll figure out what's going on. Maybe 3,
crap.
2.
I'm curious to see if you time out. Well, you're gonna ride it and be like, "This is the greatest ride of all time. This is my new." Hey, well, maybe you think Nitro will be. All right, never mind. We're good to go. All right, ready?
3, 2.
And kind of like Nitro, it's a ride you haven't ridden. This week's weekly poll was pertaining to rides that we have not ridden that were non-American attractions. And so these are the bucket list rides that our viewers want to get on in places that are not America. So we did America in the previous show, and now it's time to talk foreign attractions. So we got quite a response from the audience, of course. Like always, we love you guys responding to our polls, and we got a good response this week. Our first response was from a friend of the show, Cam. He said he wants to get on Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland, Nemesis at Alton Towers, Shambhala at Port Aventura, Terran at Phantasialand, Wildfire at Comarden, Dueling Dragons, which is the Chinese ride. I think that's at like one of the Happy Valleys. Ejanica, DC Rivals, Hypercoaster. So he has quite a bit of bucket list rides there. And they all are ones that I totally concur. Would love to get on them. They look fantastic rides.
Indeed. Dueling Dragons is definitely one of mine. I mean, hands down. I want to ride both sides of that coaster so bad. That is such a great design, and it's
It is.
intimate, and it looks cool. I just want to ride it. Just want to ride.
Yeah. It's just
Can
one
we
of those
go
rides.
there instead of
Yeah.
New Jersey? Let's go to China.
Sure, why not? That's an easy switcheroo, right?
Right, we'll just drive there instead.
We'll use the Burling Strait. So we got some more responses from the audience, and of course I'll read those off. Airtime Mike, another good friend of the show, said Wood Coaster, DC Rivals, Zadra, Expedition G-Force. Those all look really good. Expedition G-Force looks really good. I've heard some great things about that. That's Intamin, so that's Bob's company right there. That's his.
Amen.
Exactly. Someone wrote in all caps, Terran. So they really want to ride Terran at Phantasialand. That looks really good. Someone said Conda. I have a tough time since that hasn't opened yet, but I have a hard time saying. I mean, I guess it's a bucket list ride because you haven't ridden it still, even though it hasn't opened. So sure, but I don't know. We haven't heard any like reviews or anything or anybody's thoughts on it yet. So, but nonetheless, that's respectable, I guess. Expedition G-Force is also included in this individual's list. Zadra, Egenica, Piraten, and Tega. And then he said etc. So I'm sure there's a plethora of rides that he wants to get on.
Of course.
Expedition Everest with somebody's and Carnan. I'm really curious if they meant Expedition Everest or they meant Expedition G-Force, because Expedition Everest is the that's an American ride, and it's also that's a Disney, right? That's the Disney that's the big like alpine mountain ride.
Yes.
Yeah, so with the Yeti and everything. So I think they probably meant Expedition G-Force and just weren't thinking straight. So I'm gonna opt in for them, Expedition G-Force, because I'm pretty sure that's what they meant. Someone said Fly at Phantasialand, Terran, Hakuge, Helix, and Tega. So some great rides there. We're seeing some common coasters, as you can tell. Again, Zadra, Carnan, and Terran from somebody. Somebody put Zadra exclamation point, DC Rivals exclamation point, Fly exclamation point, T Express exclamation point. We finally got one I don't think we've gotten from anybody yet. Dododonpa, but he spelled it completely wrong. He said, "Sorry, I totally spelled that wrong."
Absolutely fine. I was like top, like, period. That's the coaster I want to ride.
Yeah.
Dude, absolutely, hands down, the coaster.
That's the one. That's the one that Bob loves.
Besides that,
the
the coaster that I want to ride really, really badly is Dododonpa.
Somebody said Carnan, and they said still not 100% sure what happens in the show building since I haven't been spoiled yet, but I'm excited. So that's a ride where you actually like the beginning of the ride is in a show building. So what is it?
I mean, don't. I was just making sure you weren't going to ruin the surprise for him.
No, of course not. That's where the the Trick Track double up or whatever. No, I wouldn't do that. I don't even know if I know fully what happens in there. I believe I might, but I'm not going to even suggest. I'm not even going to suggest it. But yeah, I would never spoil it for an audience member, especially if they're listening. And yeah, that's our responses. For me, Bob already said Dododonpa is probably his. I really want to get on DC Rivals. Dododonpa is also one of mine. Egenica, definitely up there for me. Shambhala, I really love the B&M Hypers, so that would be one that I definitely want to get on. And yeah, so
I also want to ride, besides Dueling Dragons, I also want to ride Dawling Dragons. I don't know if that's Dueling Dragons, but it's a gravity group
Yep.
in
China.
at Abu it just looks like so much fun. It's like Lightning Racer, like that type of idea
Yeah.
built by a
Yep.
group.
I've
I
seen it. I
mean,
really want to ride it as
how
well.
could that not be fun?
Exactly. I
And the
agree.
other, really, seriously, just like all of Fuji Q. But no, I really, I um. Oh no, wait, no, not Fuji Q. Well, I mean, yeah, Fuji Q, but then we're still Dragon 2000. That's the
Nagasaki.
other one.
Nagashima
Yeah,
Spine. Sorry.
yeah, Nagashima. That's the other one. I really want to ride that ride too. A lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's one that I'm excited to ride, but I wouldn't put that on my bucket list. But yeah, to each their
I
own
mean,
for sure.
I love Morgan Hypers, so maybe a Morgan Giga, and then those B&M trains just like they just look so awesome. I mean, I really want to ride, really seriously want to ride that
It seems you're
coaster.
more interested in like just experience, like you're just intrigued in it more than like it could
I
not even be the
am.
greatest ride, but it's like
No, I really think that I would really enjoy it. I just like it's one of those things that I can kind of see that maybe not everybody would want to go and ride, like really want to ride that one. There is definitely intrigue. That's definitely part of it, but I think it looks like a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
oh, I agree. I mean, I can't say that fast, that tall, that long of a ride isn't going to be fun. I just don't know if it's like for me up in the bucket list, but we'll see. Maybe I'll ride it one day and go, holy crap, Bob was right all along. I wouldn't be shocked. Bob's always right. Um,
I
uh, all right. Well,
what's the favorite Alton Towers that I want to ride, and
is
not
it
not Nemesis.
not Nemesis, Oblivion? Not Oblivion, probably because that's the dive coaster. There's Rita, I think.
Wicker Man.
Oh, the GCI. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I that one is pure intrigue though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it,
Sure. I
it
understand
looks
that. I've heard it's not a bad ride. I heard some people really like it
it's
too.
accelerator because like that's another park that I'd really want to go
Stealth?
to. There's uh Alton Towers just in general. What about
You
Stealth?
you
Stealth?
said you said the accelerator coaster, and I said Stealth.
Oh no, Rita. I was just saying they also have Rita, which is
Wait.
another
Okay.
accelerator
I thought you
coaster.
were talking back to Thorpe Park. All right. Never mind. It's 1 a.m., guys. Keep that in mind. We've been recording for 5 hours. We're getting kind of loopy here. We're getting loopy. So before
I
that,
just want to ride things. I want to ride the mine train. That's my bucket list.
oh, is there a backwards launch on this one?
Is another Smaller. Smiler's another one of those just intrigued, just for the theme. The theme is so interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right. Before we get too disillusioned with sleep and and whatever's going on right now, we're gonna give off next week's weekly poll. What is your favorite coaster to marathon? It's gonna kind of allude back to earlier in the show when we were discussing the coaster power hours and which rides you want to marathon and stuff. And again, keep in mind this is favorite coasters to marathon, not your favorite roller coaster, right? There's a difference.
Yes.
You
There's a
don't
big
always
difference.
want to marathon your favorite ride. I know, again, at Kings Dominion, my favorite coaster marathon would be Grizzly for sure, and that's not my. It's not even. It's my third favorite, so it's not even the top 2 favorite rides at the park. But marathoning Grizzly is just so much fun. So keep that in mind when listing off your favorite coaster to marathon. And that about does it for the show. I'm gonna give off our social media and also some website links here real quick. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Coaster Talk Pod. If you want to follow us for amusement industry news and commentary on up and coming events, you can answer that weekly poll that we just listed off at coastertalkpodcast.com/poll. Go to our YouTube channel, Coaster Talk Podcast. Contact us, coastertalkpodcast.com/contact. You can email james@coastertalkpodcast.com or bob@coastertalkpodcast.com with comments, questions, or concerns as well. And then if you want to support the show, do so by purchasing some merchandise and showing us around the parks. That would be great. coastertalkpodcast.com/shop is where you can view some of the products we have available. Thank you guys so much for listening. It's been a long show, but it was a good one to come back with. And we'll see you guys all on next week's show. Oh my gosh. I've never been this tired after doing an episode. I feel like I'm about to fall asleep in my chair. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm tired. I wasn't that tired before this.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm more hungry or tired.
I'm hungry too, but I honestly don't know if I'm gonna eat. I might just go to sleep. I was planning on doing some homework after this too, but I'm literally gonna fall asleep. I can't. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Please go to sleep.
See.
Goodbye, guys.